Now on at Curry's, €400 on the LG 48-inch Smart 4K OLED TV, now 1149. Save €150 on the energy-efficient Samsung EcoBubble 9kg washing machine for just $449. And get a 14-inch Asus laptop with 128 gigs of storage and up to 12 hours battery life, now just $279. Save €80. Get in-store or online at currys.ie.
Today's 9 till noon show is brought to you in association with Ulster Tyres. Are your tyres ready for winter? Call into Ulster Tyres in Letterkenny and Ballybuffet today.
And now, it's time for the talk of the Northwest. The 9 to noon show with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
And a very good morning, 5 minutes past 9, Thursday the 18th of November, and you're very welcome along to another edition of the 9 till noon show. Lots coming up in the programme, including your views, your comments, your issues, your conversations. You can get them to us now. WhatsApps and texts to 086 60 25,000, 086 60 25,000. Give us a call on 07491 25,000, and your emails, as always, to comments@highlandradio.com. And a very good morning to you as you join us across our social media where we stream the show live. Feel free to leave your comments there on our Facebook pages or indeed on our YouTube page, Highland Radio Ireland. And if you want to watch on YouTube, you can click on our website and you'll see the story there. Click into it and away you go. Right, Thursdays means lots of newspapers today, and it's a mixed bag, but at the same time, understandably, I suppose, there's one or two stories dominating most of the front pages. A different one from the Tyrconnell Tribune this morning. Last Thursday morning is one of Milford couple Colin and Stephanie Lynch will remember for the rest of their lives. Their little baby girl Alice was born not at Letterkenny University Hospital as planned, but at their home in Fox's Glen. And it was a stroke of luck that Colin was at home to be with Stephanie and assist with the delivery of their third daughter. He's irregularly based in Dublin, but his employer unexpectedly told him to work from home last week. More on the front of and inside that paper, including a lovely picture on the front. The Donegal Democrat tells us today that fears are growing that further COVID-19 restrictions will be introduced amid rising case numbers and pressure on hospitals. The announcement of fresh measures on Tuesday, including midnight closing for pubs and nightclubs, has fuelled fears that a circuit breaker lockdown will be introduced in the coming weeks. The change in mood among the public has led to the cancellation of public events, to switching on Christmas lights in Letterkenny and Ballybuffet and Stranraer. Hotels, restaurants and bars in the county have reported the cancellation of bookings amid growing nervousness about the spread of the disease. And we'll be talking about the impact on those industries in the not too distant future. Of course, as you can imagine, I suppose it's not that hotels are cancelling stuff, it's that people are saying, and this was happening last week at events, people are saying, right, I'm listening to the advice, I'm making this decision myself. It does happen. People make those decisions. The Derry People Donegal News, the manager of a popular Letterkenny bar says he fears a repeat of last Christmas and a full closure of pubs as a new earlier closing time comes into place from Friday. A closing time of midnight will be enforced for bars, restaurants and nightclubs in an attempt to reduce COVID-19 cases less than a month after the late night entertainment industry was allowed to fully reopen. Philip Ward, the manager of the McCafferty Group, said his biggest fear is that the new restrictions are the start of a repeat of last year and the bars will be closed down again towards December 20 for 2 weeks. I think the government will do everything they can if there is likely to be a lockdown to push it back into January, but we shall see. The Derry News this morning tells us that a song dedicated to journalist Lyra McKee is on course to be a #1 smash hit. Legendary Girl by the Starjets is climbing high on the heritage charts and could well be top of the pops by the end of the week. Their song about the 29-year-old who was shot dead by a new IRA gunman while watching a riot on Fana Drive in Cregan in April 2019 has received a huge amount of radio interest all over the world in places like Australia, Germany, Holland, California and the UK. The Farmers Journal today tells us what I think many in the community have already been seeing or were seeing the start and signs of and are fearing where it's going to go. The fertilising supply chain is grinding to a halt with merchants unable to guarantee either prices or product for farmers. As the surge in fertilise prices continues on international markets, importers here have struggled to source supplies or secure shipping for contracted stocks. One significant importer told the Irish Farmers Journal that he's purchased just 70% of his fertiliser requirements, but had only secured shipping for less than a quarter of the quantities bought. Now, if you've an interest in that and can give us an insight into what impact it might have, get in touch with us. 086 60 25,000 WhatsApps or texts there. The Irish Independent tells us that thousands of vulnerable people in their 60s face spending Christmas on the sidelines without the protection of a COVID-19 booster amid forecasts of up to 400,000 cases of the virus next month. And this is where the problem lies, in that you have lots and lots of cases. And although, very few people get sick and very few people die, thankfully, very few people get very seriously sick. Once you scale up the case numbers that high, that very few in terms of a percentage becomes quite a lot of people, and therein lies the problem. The hospitalisation rate, the fatality rate, we know those figures are well established at this stage. But if that's of 2,000 cases, it's a very low number. But you scale that up to 400,000 cases, and you can see very quickly, even if, people might say, oh, it's got a 99% recovery rate, which is true. It is true. In fact, it's slightly higher here in Donegal. The recovery rate is very, very high, which is great. But if you've got 400,000 cases, that leaves an awful lot of people in that 1% passing away, and potentially more if it gets into certain settings. But anyway, more than 3/4 of the 475,000 people aged 60 to 69 who received the AstraZeneca vaccine had to wait until July or August before getting a second dose. It means thousands will not meet the 5 to 6 month gap to become eligible for a booster shot. Kingston Mills, Professor of Experimental Immunology at Trinity College, said he saw a case for expediting their booster shot in light of the Christmas socialising risk. And a lot of these people are looking at Israel. Israel vaccinated an awful lot of people early on. It became clear very early on in Israel that the vaccine started to wear off, and they ploughed on with booster shots, and it seemed to have a remarkable impact. The international example was there. It's just one that we don't seem to be following. The Irish Times tells us that the government's bracing for an extremely difficult few weeks for hospitals due to high rates of COVID-19 infections, with ministers expecting public health experts to recommend further restrictions in the next 2 weeks, which I personally see, sadly, as inevitable. Modelling of likely pandemic scenarios presented to senior ministers suggests the health service will face extreme pressure in the coming weeks as tens of thousands of cases work their way through the system. This was the basis of stark warnings from senior health officials earlier this week that led to the restrictions announced on Tuesday. And it is those really in hospitals, those working on hospitals and managing hospitals that are driving an awful lot of this. They're saying, look, we're going to buckle under this burden. They're already buckling, but they're managing. And it's they that are saying, look, if there's lots and lots of cases, there's lots of small percentages that get sick, and they simply can't deal with it. Government hopes, though, that these measures introduced most recently, as well as a changed public mood evident in research from the Department of Health, will start having effect early next month. And that would be the fingers crossed situation. The Irish Daily Mail tells us that the Department of Finance recommended cutting the pandemic unemployment payment to get construction workers back to work. Documents obtained under the Freedom of Information show that the PUP was viewed as a source of labour constraint by senior department mandarins. One official insisted that if the government was eager to solve the shortage of builders during a housing crisis, then tackling the PUP is part of the solution. Now, fair play to the Mail for, getting the Freedom of Information, finding out what, that permanent government were thinking. But these comments came straight out of ministers' mouths. I can't remember the exact minister, so I don't want to wrongly attribute the comment to them, but they said reducing the PUP will free up people to go back into, and he was referencing at that time, the hospitality sector. So I don't think it's just the department chiefs and people working within it. I think that was the view that was held by certainly some senior politicians. Are politicians out of touch? Let's see. The Irish Daily Star here, Simon Coveney and others. He believes it was responsible to shut down nightclubs. The senior government minister was speaking as nightclubs prepared to pull down their shutters at midnight tonight after only reopening 3 weeks ago following 18 months locked up. Mr Coveney said that socialising in late bars and nightclubs after midnight is a risk factor that the government has decided we can do without. you haven't decided we can do without Mr. Coveney because, as we mentioned yesterday and predicted yesterday, nightclubs are opening earlier. Copperface Jack's, perhaps the most famous nightclub in Ireland, I would suggest so. It's now opening from 6 p.m. to 12 midnight. It's new opening hours, 7 days a week. So to me, it points to the fact that, you know, the government got advice on Monday night. That's when they got the letter from Tony Holohan, Monday night. Then they met on Tuesday and made all of these decisions on Tuesday morning, and they were announced at lunchtime. Now, they obviously didn't take enough time to think about this, did they? How could they? They weren't announced at lunchtime, but they were leaked verbatim at lunchtime. They're actually saying that they believe what they've done will stop people congregating in these settings. They won't. They just do it earlier. And that makes me worry about how in touch with the situation they might be. The Minister for Foreign Affairs added that he could not rule out further restrictions being reintroduced if COVID figures don't improve. Many people are concerned that with COVID rampaging through the community again and with rising rates amongst school children coupled with a shortage of teachers, that schools may not reopen in January after the Christmas break. And we were having a conversation yesterday, and that's exactly what I believe will happen. I think schools will close for an extended period in January, but I only suspect that, by the way. I don't have any information in that regard. Right. And also, too, I've received emails from healthcare workers that say that they've been told by management. Now, I'm not saying it's Letterkenny University Hospital, by the way, because I would have a network beyond Donegal, that they've received letters saying that the new rules as it relates to self-isolation, so from now on, or restricting your movements from now on, if you're a close contact and a household close contact, regardless of your vaccination status, you're being asked to self-isolate for 5 days and take 3 antigen tests, which will be sent out to you at some point. I don't know how that's working. And then after 5 days, if all 3 are clear, you're away to go. And it includes teachers and healthcare workers. But I've seen an email sent to some healthcare workers, at least it seems legit as much as I can determine, that says that the new rules do not apply for them. But yet you have others within the health service saying, oh, no, it does. Yet on the website, the government says itself, which is further confusion, the government says the Health Protection Surveillance Centre will issue further guidance on derogations for healthcare workers in respect of restricted movement requirements for those who are household close contacts. So what does that say? It's not very, very clear. These are the types of simple bits of messaging I think we should be getting correct. The Irish Sun today, the Irish fishing fleet is to be reduced by a third to make up for the 5% Brexit quota cut. 60 trawlers will be decommissioned and taken out of business by the end of next year, leaving just 100 vessels left in the whole country. The government is to pay out 63.5 million in EU compo to the fishermen leaving the industry. Now, the ones I've spoken to don't want to be paid not to fish, or they don't want to be paid to tie their boats up. Is this kind of like what we did with the sugar industry here, or what we've done with the peat industry here? It kind of feels like it, paying people, not to work or not to do what they love doing. But there's something deeper about our fishing industry because it's so ingrained in our coastal communities as well. If you're involved in the industry and this stinks, or in fact, if you're in favour of it, by the way, as well, it's very important, get in contact with us. So the government's going to pay almost 64 million in compensation to fishermen leaving the industry. All Irish fishing groups agreed to the deal except the West and South Fish Producers Association, so maybe there's industry approval of this. Our fishing quota was slashed from 20 to 15% by the EU to make up for the loss of British waters as a consequence of Brexit. It means just 15 out of every 100 fish in our seafood-rich waters can be caught by Irish fishermen. So, yeah, look, the access to UK waters problematic, but give us our fair share. Look at the fair share the French fishermen get. And instead of us fighting our corner in the EU, we are buying out our fishermen. As I say, maybe that's what the industry wants. Let us know. Call Caroline on 07491 25,000. Now, finally, in the Mirror, a serving Garda has been charged with assault and coercive control. Mark Dole, 36, based in West Dublin but currently on suspension, appeared before Judge John Lindsay at Dublin District Court yesterday. Inspector Adrian Kinsella of the Garda National Protective Services Bureau told the court that he arrested Doyle at 9:14 and charged him with 9 offences, after which he made no reply. The offences allegedly occurred between 208, 209 and 219. Judge Lindsay noted the Director of Public Prosecutions had directed trial on indictment in the circuit court. He was remanded on bail until January 7th to be served with a book of evidence. And that those charges seem to be related to a very long period of time. 10 years. Okay. 086 60 25,000. That is your WhatsApp, our WhatsApp number for you to text in.
The newspapers are courtesy of Kelly Centra, Mountaintop, Letterkenny.
For great fuel deals, contact Gortley Sales and Hire. Large sacks and trailer loads of logs. Also briquettes, coal, kindling and gas with free delivery locally. Contact Gortley Sales and Hire in Letterkenny on 9126276.
New this week in Home Store and More. All our Christmas table linen is half price. Time to get Christmas ready with festive patterns for the table that is at the heart of every home. But better hurry, because when all our half-price Christmas table linen is gone, it's gone. Also, all Christmas tree lights are still half price. But when all our half-price Christmas tree lights are gone, they're definitely gone. So order online before 2 p.m. today for next day delivery, or drop by your local Home Store and More. Home Store and More. A happy home.
Kavanagh Hooper Dolan Insurances, based at Rossview Business Park, Letterkenny, provides a comprehensive and competitive range of products for home, motor, young drivers, business, farm and marine. Call us now for a free quotation on 074 91777500. Check out our range of products online at chd.ie or drop into our office at Rossview Business Park today for help and advice on your insurance needs from our experienced staff. Kavanagh Hooper Dolan Insurances Limited is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Homeland Fuel offers, keeping you warm for less. 40 kg premium doubles or easy flame coal, $16.99. Buy 10, get 1 free. 1 kg fire logs, 4 for €5. 12-pack wood briquettes, buy 2 for €10. Shop in store or online at homeland.ie.
Come on down to McDade's Bathroom Plumbing Tiles and visit their designer showroom. They have over 40 bathroom settings on display to help you choose your dream bathroom. So please call or email their staff anytime. McDade's are open Monday to Friday 8:30 till 5:30 and Saturday 9:30 till 3, and can be contacted by phone on 074 9363050 or email sales at pjmcdade.com. Thank you for your continued support from all the team at McDade's Bathroom Plumbing Tiles, Buncrana.
Check out the new autumn-winter range of men's and ladies' diesel clothing at Meehan's Off Rafo. Men's shirts and polo shirts up to 5XL. Men's jeans, 2 for €55. Men's tops, 2 for €40. At Meehan's Off Rafo. Christmas Club now open.
At Letterkenny Shopping Centre, we're already dreaming about the festive season, so why not make a start? Park for free and enjoy your Christmas shopping this year. Letterkenny Shopping Centre, bringing you the time at...
The time is 22 minutes past 9, and we welcome onto the programme now Moninia Griffith, who is CEO of Belong To. We're talking in the context of the 12th Annual Stand Up Awareness Week. Good morning to you, Moninia. Thank you for joining us.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you.
It's good to have you on the programme. Tell us about Belong To. What is the organisation?
Well, we're the national organisation for young lesbian, gay, bisexual and transgender people aged 14 to 23. We provide youth services in Dublin, and we support a network of youth clubs and services around the country, including we work closely with Breakout in Donegal Youth Services, and big shout out to Inika up there, who amazing youth worker who supports LGBT young people across Donegal. And then we do a lot of campaigning work as well, changing attitudes. And as you mentioned, then this week is Stand Up Awareness Week. So you'd think at this day and age, with marriage equality and all the progress that we've made in Ireland, that this wouldn't still be an issue. But unfortunately, homophobic and transphobic bullying is still very much an issue. And we did a survey of LGBT young people back in 2019, and 73% of them said that they felt unsafe in school. So that's why this week is so important. Mm-hmm. It gives an opportunity to second-level schools, the staff and the students, youth reaches and youth services across the country to celebrate and recognise their local LGBT community, the young people in their services and their schools that might be LGBT or might be thinking about coming out. And we provide them with all the resources that they need.
Now, you mentioned that 1 in 5 LGBTQ plus students face bullying. LGBTI, I beg your pardon, but 3/4 feel unsafe. So where is that feeling of unsafe coming from? Is it the fear of being bullied, or is there something else about the school environment?
So there's lots of stuff going on for young people. Some people, when they haven't come out yet, there's a huge fear of rejection. It's still hard to come out because everybody's, expected to be heterosexual and cisgender. So it's a big worry. Will my friends still like me? Will my family still love me? Will I be bullied? Will I be excluded? How will people perceive me? And so that huge big fear of rejection is huge. The big things that young people have said to us and what we're supporting schools to do during Stand Up Week is to look at three things: inclusive environment, inclusive curriculum, and inclusive policies. So what I'm talking about inclusive environment is to make sure that there are age appropriate literature, books, that kind of stuff available in the library. And whenever a family or a relationship or identity is presented in a poster, to try and make sure that different types of families are represented and everything is considered normal. And so, because when there's greater visibility, people feel that they're more safe and they're more welcome, and that this is somewhere where they belong. In terms of inclusive and curriculum or indeed programs and projects in the youth service space, but in a school space, it's really important to make sure that LGBT young people see their lives and their experiences across the curriculum. And it's been shown in research that this results in a much more positive school environment when there's inclusivity across the curriculum. So we have reviewed most of the junior cycle subjects, and we found opportunities to integrate LGBT-related topics, relationships, identities into them, making it really easy for teachers to introduce this in a really simple, straightforward way. And the last thing then is around policies. So, policies that make a specific reference to homophobic and transphobic bullying should be in every school's anti-bullying policy or code of behaviour. And that sends a really powerful message to young people and to parents that the school doesn't tolerate this kind of behaviour.
In relation to, though, attitudes in schools, schools can't operate in isolation of wider society. And I wonder how many of sort of the attitudes that young people might have are filtering down maybe from parents and guardians outside the school environment. And, even maybe young people, I can imagine a scenario where they're fine, they're open-minded, they don't see anything. But they go home and start talking to the parents who get quite defensive. What's going on in schools? What are you talking about there? This isn't right. There's something wrong there. And then obviously that sort of maybe undoes the work that the positive work that might be happening in schools. So really the wider point is that it's hard to sort of change things in isolation in the schools. It has to be much broader and wider, that I'd imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've started a program called Safe and Supportive Schools, and it looks at 6 different areas, including the 3 that I've already mentioned, but also community engagement. And you're absolutely right. You need to include parents, boards of management, the local services that support young people, to have those conversations. Because the truth is that many of us, including LGBT people, carry around unconscious bias, notions and stereotypes and myths about what it means to be LGBT. So it's really healthy to have an open conversation so people can address those, can raise questions in a safe space, have them addressed and have them answered, so they understand that some of those attitudes belong in eras way before, and that we don't believe that anymore. And the main thing is really, as well as changing hearts and minds, is to change language. I think the big focus this week with Stand Up is to use words that heal, not harm, because a lot of young people, and I think they get this from online, use homophobic language, not always with the intention of hurting their LGBT friends. It's just because it's so commonplace. So it's not with the intention of hurting, but nonetheless it does hurt.
And
so
pardon my ignorance on this, but where is the Q letter gone from LGTB? You hear lots of other people use that. Is this a change?
No, it's just different organisations would use different acronyms. There's lots of.
And why would you not use Q in your acronym?
Well, it's something that we're looking at the moment for sure, because young people really would like us to use it.
So in other words, even those promoting this have a bit of work to do, don't they?
Absolutely. There's still, we're all still learning as we learn more about, sexual orientation and gender identity. We're all still on that learning journey, and schools, youth services, indeed organisations that work with LGBT young people, we still have lots to learn.
Okay. Now, part of this is a social media drive as well. Tell people about that if they want to get involved in it.
Yeah, so as alongside the Stand Up campaign, we're running the Come In campaign, and that again is really about unlearning the language that many of us use without really thinking, and not necessarily, with the intention of hurting people around us. So using things like "that's so gay" to describe anything at all that you don't like, the rain, your homework, anything at all. So it's really that really perpetuates the problem that we need to solve. So what we're asking people to do is to get involved online, follow the hashtag Come In across your whatever social media platform you're using. Use our stickers, show you that you're a good ally, show that your intention is to support your LGBT friends and family members, and to use words that heal and not hurt.
Yeah, the only problem is when you use social media like this, people have generally already found themselves in the company of like-minded people, and you'll have certain groups of society that will embrace this, and then you'll have other groups who've already found each other, or individuals that would certainly not. But anyway, we need to work on all of that. Thank you for joining us.
My pleasure, and happy Stand Up Awareness Week to all the schools across Donegal. Okay,
and some of them are doing excellent work, others maybe not so. I suppose it's hit and miss, is it?
Yeah, but with 68% of schools last year who participated, we had a really good turnout from schools across Donegal. Yeah. In fact, the Loretto Secondary School are on our cover of our magazine. So we're really hoping that we'll hit over the 70% this year. It's growing. Schools realise how important this work is, and it's something that students are really calling for as well.
Okay. Thank you very much, Meninia. It's been nice speaking to you, and see you soon. See you again, hopefully soon. Okay, bye. Take care. That is Meninia Griffith there, who is CEO of Belong To. 086 60 25 000 is our text to WhatsApp number. Give us a call on 07491 25 000. I meant to mention this yesterday, by the way, and I just want to mention it early on in the show today. It's something completely different, because you'd be well familiar, lots of people would be familiar with Michael and Mary Worski's house at Gorkally in Kerrykill, always lit up resplendently for Christmas. This year is no different. You're invited to visit the amazing display of Christmas lights. Now, the display will light up each night from 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. from Saturday the 27th of November. Now, it's free, but there's a donation box situated at the crib, and all proceeds in aid of Bumbulance, the Children's National Ambulance Service. So if you want to go along, as many of you do, and many of you will, you can from the 27th of November, and donate if you can. And you can also donate online /Worski's Christmas Lights. idonate.ie /Worski's Christmas Lights, if you don't want to leave the cash there, or whatever it might be. All right, we'll mention that a bit closer to the time as well, but it's a lovely initiative, and it helps others out that need help. Okay, the next guest joining us in less than 3.
Today's 9 till noon show is brought to you in association with Ulster Tyres. Get your tyres winter ready. Drop in to Ulster Tyres in Letterkenny and Ballybuffet today.
Buy a ticket. Buy a ticket in Highland Radio's mega draw to win a car. Win a car. Get your ticket by November 30th and automatically enter an extra draw before the big draw. Big draw. One lucky winner will walk away with €2,000. Imagine, that's Christmas all wrapped up. Christmas sorted. The draw will take place on Wednesday, December 1st on the 9 till noon show. 9 till noon. And you're still in with a chance to win the Kia Exceed worth over €28,000. 28 grand.
It's that simple. to win that car.
To get your ticket, log on to highlandradio.com.
Highland Radio, exceeding your expectations.
Ooh.
No matter how busy we are, how can we make the most of our lives each day? By spending quality time together or spending time giving back? However you spend each day with Debit MasterCard, spend it doing what matters most to you. Because a life well spent is truly priceless. Learn more at mastercard.ie.
€74 per hectare eco-scheme payment. For more in your Farmer's Journal is Paul Mooney.
Our new CAP series reveals how eco-schemes will work and what you will need to do to draw down your payment. Find out which counties would win or lose from 100% convergence. With soaring fertiliser prices and dangerously low stocks, will there be enough stock for farmers next spring?
And don't miss our Winter Ready focus inside this week's Irish Farmer's Journal. You cannot afford to miss it.
Letterkenny Shopping Centre is where real Christmas begins. Get everything you need for the festive season with a wide range of gifts, food and services. Park for free, have a browse, grab a coffee and actually enjoy your Christmas shopping this year. Thank you for visiting Letterkenny Shopping Centre this Christmas.
This is the new Toyota Yaris Cross, a new kind of SUV, a new point of view, new compact style, new spacious feel, and exclusively self-charging hybrid. The right choice for today. Get a new perspective with the Yaris Cross self-charging hybrid. Available now at Kelly's Toyota, Port Road, Letterkenny, or Drumby, Mount Charles. You'll never take a wrong turn with Toyota. Built for a better world.
Clarence Big Beauty Gift is now available at McElhenny's Ballybuffet. Choose 4 treat-sized essentials and a cosmetic bag when you purchase 2 Clarence products, one to be a moisturiser or serum. So why not spoil yourself or someone special this Christmas with our Clarence Big Beauty Gift, available in-store or online at mcelhennys.com.
Now, launching the report, social media firm, I'm a wee bit down the script here. Social media sites could be blocked or hit with large fines when found to be promoting harmful content under new government plans. Launching the report, the Arts and Media Minister Catherine Martin said new legislation will penalise social media companies for promoting harmful content. She said the legislation will ensure the era of self-regulation is over for social media companies. We're joined now by Professor Brian O'Neill, Deputy Chair of the National Advisory Council for Online Safety. I'm not going to lie to you, Brian. I'd be not terribly confident in this making a difference, but maybe you're more confident.
Good morning, Greg. There's a lot happening in this particular space at the moment, and the legislation that the ministers spoke about has certainly been long in the preparation, and there's a lot of detailed discussion surrounding these things, but not just here in Ireland. I think we can see right across the world there is a gathering consensus, or an emerging consensus, that we are moving into a different kind of phase. There's a different relationship, and that regulation of some kind is needed. So the purpose of our particular report is really just to provide some of the background evidence. What's going on? What are the issues, and what are the problems that need to be addressed?
But I mean, there's many people. Listen, there's no doubt the likes of Facebook still continues to help promote misinformation on all manner of things, by the way. I'm not just talking health. It's clear to see the best you could expect from them maybe is a shield saying, this video contains certain images, but you still can click through and watch it. That's happening already, but also an awful lot of people who are interested in sharing this information or viewing it are moving to your likes of BitChute or to Telegram. This is all coming a little bit late in the day, isn't it? I mean, I presume this new legislation wouldn't extend to the likes of BitChute or Gab or Telegram, would it?
Well, there's it's a complex piece of legislation, and what it's going to do is establish a media commission and an online safety commissioner. And that has been, as I say, promised for some time, and they will go through a process of designating certain digital services. So the potential scope is really quite wide, and it looks at a range of issues whereby companies will be required to comply with a range of online safety codes. complex. So it's really what's going to be contained within that, and certainly harmful online content, has been earmarked. But other areas such as you mentioned disinformation, I think for a couple of years now, legislators have been particularly focused on this because it really is sort of attacks the democratic process. It's interference, it's misinformation, and there are moves towards doing this. But you've got to see this. This is an ongoing process. The issues are complex. It's not that the companies are willingly promoting disinformation or harmful content, but I think there is an agreement that there needs to be a step up in action.
But who would be the gatekeeper? Who would determine what is misinformation? Is any opposing view, any view that is at odds to a health or government narrative? Is that, I listen to politicians, sit on the other end of a Zoom call with me on this program, or listen to them on other programs, and I know what they're saying. I'm not saying they're lying, but it's, what's that? I always get mixed up between dis and misinformation, but it's not exactly what's going on. Let's put it like that there. Do we have a platform where they can spout what they want to say, and yet someone who might have a different point of view that goes against sort of the general narrative, they would be shut down? How do you regulate that?
Yeah, well, that's and this, these are the challenges and the balancing, because the internet brings us an extraordinary expansion of all possible diversity of opinion, and with that you get the good, the bad, and the in between. So certainly there are clear issues in terms of balancing the right to freely express an opinion, and these are fundamental rights alongside not doing harm, and the willing or intentional campaigns to interfere, to mislead, and to lead to potential through so-called bad actors who are clearly there.
Well, let's move away then from that type. Let's move away from that type of information then, right? Let's just talk about pornography, right? Twitter is one of the biggest pornography sites in the world. Hardcore pornography throughout Twitter. Anyone can sign up to Twitter. Yes, you have to be a certain age, right? But if you have an account, or even if you don't have an account, Twitter, which, obviously that's where all the medics and academics and journalists hang out, right? It's full of porn. It's bigger than a lot of the mainstream porn sites in inverted commas. How would that be regulated?
Well,
to protect children?
And I can't speak for any of the individual platforms, but what they will point to are their guidelines, and where they identify content that is against their guidelines. They have their own obligation, and what legislation will do is further reinforce the need to comply with agreed set standards. So Twitter points off elsewhere across the internet, and knowingly hosting content.
No, these aren't links. These aren't links. It hosts uploaded pictures and videos, pornography. It's not linking them off. Like, my point is that, right? Like, this is all well and good, but I want to leave this interview and then people think things will change, because personally I can't see how they can change.
Well, the intention of the legislation is, in fact, to bring in a regime that is unprecedented. And I think, and again, I don't want to be seen to be speaking in relation to the legislation itself is a matter for the minister and her department. But it has been long in development, and it is about a changed era. Internationally, there are relatively few examples. And Australia is the example that is often cited, because within Australia, it's they don't have some of the constraints of, let's say, international transnational markets, and they have moved further in terms of regulation and putting in place codes such as that. But also the European Union is looking at building within its overall EU policy what would be EU agreed rules rules around regulation of digital services and platforms. And Ireland is one of the first that is coming forward with the idea of obligated or mandated online safety codes that would, and with the sanctions of significant fines attached to them. Not dissimilar in a way to data protection. And look at how GDPR is something that has changed everybody's lives in terms of their operation or their use of digital services.
I think really what actually has changed with GDPR, Brian, with all due respect, is that instead of us maybe being tracked in 2 or 3 ways, we go on a website, we just accept everything because it says, are you happy with us tracking you? And people can't be bothered and they hit OK and it opens the door to absolutely everything. Personally, I think we actually probably consent to more now in using the internet than we actually did prior. But that's just my own personal opinion. In terms of expecting these global companies and us, a small population, to listen to what we have got to say, would it not be more advantageous for us to limit the abuse and the bullying and the wrong age of people accessing certain information by tying your online presence to an ID, right? So,
well, yeah,
and then that removes the anonymity. It gives people a space where they can access it if they're of a certain age freely, right? But at the end of the day, too, if they act inappropriately, there is, a possibility of a sanction.
And it's a good observation, and I think what it points to is the fact that there are multiple kinds of strategies that all come in together, and you come at this from different points of view, or you from different directions, and it is a combination of all of these. So the question that you're posing in terms of ID and whether that is in relation to the actual age gating, so that certain services may be gated, or there's a minimum age threshold, or certain content, which is again also according to different age groups. So that means in terms of registration for services, are there better mechanisms? Are there more robust mechanisms? Because clearly what's there at present is not working, and it's far too easy to simply sign up to any kind of service. So again, that's a set of measures that are certainly being actively discussed.
Yeah, see, Professor, if it were me, and I don't want to come across as cynical, right? But if I were most of the population, I think most of the people, for one reason or another in this country, use VPNs now. They do, whether it is streaming services, whether it's accessing the BBC iPlayer, whatever it might be. Maybe they just don't want people following them around online. They're using VPN services, okay? So if I were Facebook or Twitter, I'd be laughing, going, they're actually, going to try and make us do something. We'll get around it. We'll watch whatever we want to do, like we always do, right? You can put the VPN on your router. Everyone has access to wherever in the world. It's light touch regulation. If we used ID to make sure people couldn't access content that they couldn't access, that would be fixing a problem. This is light touch stuff that the Facebook and Twitter and the rest will be rubbing their hands with glee at.
Well, I don't know about that, and I'm not sure if you've got data to support the fact that everybody's using VPNs. Certainly, there are lots of workarounds and ways of circumventing any rules or regulations that you put in place. That's absolutely the case, and that will always be there. And whatever way technology evolves, there's always going to be some way of working around that. But remember, how this is progressing is that people are being given more choices, and you spoke about the GDPR aspect. Again, I don't think evidence would support the fact that we're consenting to more and more.
Okay, so just as an example on that, when you open up a website and it's got a splash across about cookies, do you actually open the next dialog box to click what cookies you will and will not accept, or do you just click OK?
Well, can I point to some evidence within our survey, which is what NACOS undertook to do, which is to try and bring some evidence to this, and that's in relation to where we surveyed adults, and privacy and privacy awareness has simply shot up, and it is the top area that people are concerned about. They want to find out more. They're less confident about their own knowledge of what is a complex area, and remember that alongside alongside providing people with the tools, the next part is, in fact, whether it comes from the Data Protection Commission's office or other public agencies, is actually re-informing people about their choices. And then, they look at different services and service providers or operating systems. Remember, there are various different variations on this, and they will provide varying levels of privacy protection. That is about empowering people, giving some choices, and in this case, that the relevant agencies are stepping up their activity in terms of setting what are the rules of the game, and they're certainly looking to do that in partnership with all the players.
Yeah, and listen, and much of this conversation is about protecting our young people too, and we have to do everything that we can, whatever tools we have, Professor, to do that, don't we?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, that's a big focus. So this survey that we've launched, had 3 parts to it. One focused on children. And in fact, that was the most detailed part of it. Then parents, specifically to their relation to how they are a really important part of online safety reinforcement. And then adults, and something that we haven't actually quite considered. Anecdotally, we've lots of information about, how to, the prevalence of bullying, for all, trolling online, all that kind of stuff. So we wanted to find out more about, how the adults are responding to all of that. That provides, and we need to keep doing this. We need to keep really close listening ear to what are people's frustrations, what are their problems, and how to respond to that.
Yeah, can't wait to wave the white flag. We have to keep going. Listen, thanks for your time and answering the questions and teasing it out with me. I really appreciate it. Brian, if people want more, by the way, information from the National Advisory Council for Online Safety, or to go through that survey in more details, where should they go?
Absolutely. It's easily accessible. It's on gov.ie/online safety report. And I'm sure we'll be happy to circulate and disseminate the links.
Yeah, right.
But it's a full detailed report.
Great stuff. Thanks very much indeed. That was Professor Brian O'Neill, Deputy Chair of the National Advisory Council for Online Safety. What do you think? 086 60 25,000. A caller says, can I ask you to highlight this, please? Surely after more than 12 months with buses running to secondary schools at 50% capacity, now is not the time to return to running buses at 100% capacity. Bus Éireann plan to do so from next week. Are parents and teachers aware of this? That comes in from a very worried parent. Another caller says that curfew announced for today is only a starter, and to break people in again, didn't want to close things right away. Another, why the greenest island in the world, surrounded by one of the best fishing grounds, and yet our fishermen cannot fish, and our farmers are being made to stop farming. Our oil gas rights were more or less handed away for nothing. It's like every Irish government is out to destroy Ireland, because they certainly aren't standing up for them. We use pretty much all of our oil. There's no oil off our coast. There is gas, and we consume most of it. But I suppose it is another company selling it back to us. Hi, Greg. Do you think all staff in pubs, clubs and restaurants should be vaccinated? It's completely up to them. I have no opinion on that. People make up their own minds. Morning, Greg. One mistake that was made in relation to COVID is not clamping down on the COVID certs. I see Northern Ireland is introducing COVID certs for all events, even outdoor dependent. It's not all outdoor events, but I take your point. When the rule was made, it should have been obeyed. It shouldn't be that the people who decided not to take the vaccine have the freedom as those who've taken it. I feel sorry for young and old, such uncertain times for them. Well, we see what's happening in Germany and Austria in terms of lockdowns for those who have yet to receive a vaccine. Can't see the point of it here because so many people have taken a vaccine. Who's to say? Greg, all the garden shed garages, shebeens will be reopened after tonight. Crazy decision. Yes, of course they will. I think really what they're hoping, though, is that maybe, the young people might go, right, okay, I can't really do this because of, sick people in my house, or maybe mums and dads will put pressure on them. I don't know what their strategy is, but I presume that forms part of it. I just, when you see the nightclubs, they're just running 3 hours earlier. And why wouldn't they? It's perfectly within their rules. They've been shut for well over a year, open for 27 days. That's what they're going to do. Greg, do you not understand? You can only get COVID at midnight. It's like Cinderella and the ball. That's how it feels, I suppose, for many. Right, okay. Was the lotto won last night, by the way? Because this caller says, my question is, when the lottery is not won in the UK, all the prizes tiers are increased, resulting in thousands of winners. Yet in Ireland, only the next Tier 5 bonuses increased, resulting in about 2 winners. Why not share the prize money with all players? Yeah, get rid of it. Give it out, says a caller.
Today's 9 till noon show is brought to you in association with Ulster Tyres. Winter is coming. Get your tyres winter ready. Call into Ulster Tyres in Letterkenny and Ballybuffet today.
Feeling festive?
Shop online at mcgees.ie and in-store at Main Street Letterkenny this Christmas. Top designer fragrances, huge discounts on all top brands like Armani, Calvin Klein, DKNY and many more. Fast, efficient service and free delivery countrywide on all orders over €40.
Get your designer perfume and aftershave this Christmas at McGee's Chemist.
Direct to your door or collect in store. Follow us on Facebook for new offers. Half-hour free parking on Main Street.
Live music and entertainment is back at the Alley Theatre Strabane with the Dubliners Show, Conall Gallen, Sorry for Your Loss, Cash Returns, The Johnny and June Story, The Christmas Country with the Stars Show and Strabane Chamber Choir. For more information and tickets, alley-theatre.com or follow our socials.
Live electricity wires are always near, and coming close to them can be dangerous. So always ask yourself, are you sure it's safe? Look out for electricity wires above and below you. If in doubt, call us on 1800 372 999. It might just save your life. ESB Networks. Stay safe and stay clear of electricity wires.
If you're experiencing an unplanned pregnancy, there is someone you can talk to. My Options is a HSC service that offers confidential counselling and information. We're here to listen and guide you through all your options, including support to continue a pregnancy, as well as information on abortion services. We can also support you if a planned pregnancy becomes a crisis over time. Talk to a counsellor online at myoptions.ie or free phone 1-800-828-010 from the HSE.
At Joe McGee Butchers, we have all your needs to make this Christmas dinner extra special. So, if it's a fresh whole turkey, a turkey breast fillet in a vac-pack cooking bag with a cooking pop-up timer, a ham joint or a succulent dry-aged sirloin steak, then call in to Joe McGee Butchers at Glencar Shopping Centre and the Letterkenny Shopping Centre, where we have Christmas all wrapped up for you.
Highland Radio weather updates with National Fuels Letterkenny. For a keen price on your home heating oil, call National Fuels on 9137 400.
Okay, mostly cloudy today with some patches of rain, drizzle and mist, mainly during the morning. Cloud will break in some areas during the course of the day, following a few brighter sunny spells developing. A mild day, temperatures 12 to 15 degrees, but as I was saying yesterday, it is going to get chilly now as we head through the weekend and into next week. When you put your Christmas tree up, I notice a few people have their at least outside decorations up. Looks lovely. Is it too soon? When's too soon? When's the right time? When are you putting up your tree? 086 60 25,000. I think, I have a feeling, you know, when's the late toy show? Is that the 25th, 26th? I have a feeling a lot of people might do it on the 25th, you know, get it up, have a long Christmas season and just chill out. What do you think? When are you putting yours up? When's the right time? Get in touch, 086 60 25,000. Right, we are going to take one more quick break, because then we're going to bring you the news and the obituary notices, and then it's on to another busy hour of this 9 till noon show.
Today's 9 till noon show is brought to you in association with Ulster Tyres. Get your tyres winter ready. Drop in to Ulster Tyres in Letterkenny and Ballybuffet today.
Don't miss the crazy Black Friday deals right now at Watson Hire in Letterkenny. Up to 70% off the recommended retail price on hand and power tools, paint, homeware, clothing and much more. Many are at clearance prices that won't be repeated. Loads of great present ideas now reduced. That's amazing Black Friday deals right now at Watson Hire, Kiltoy, Letterkenny. Visit watsonhire.ie or see Facebook for daily offers.
Bring it back up. Now celebrating at Zalando, the perfect look for your every mood. Enjoy our Cyber Week deals with up to 70% off streetwear, winterwear, gifts and more. Discover all our Cyber Week deals on Zalando. Bring it back up.
This week at Cruiseless Supermarket, we have special offers. Buy 9 chicken fillets for only €10. Steak roast €2, €9. £3, £12.25, £4, €16. And £3 a stew and steak, only €10. Cruiseless Supermarket, offering quality and value every day. Open 7 days for your convenience.
lanterns, Christmas trees, decorations and all types of lights. Everything you need for Christmas. Experience the magic of Christmas at Cooney's. Our biggest and best Christmas shop has outstanding value on lights and trees. There really is something for everyone at Cooney's Letterkenny Retail Park.
Newly crowned Donegal Senior Champions St Junans will look to make home advantage count this Sunday as they begin their Ulster Club campaign. Derry champions Glen are the visitors to O'Donnell Park in the opening round of the provincial competition. Join Oisín Kelly and Martin McHugh for live match commentary from St Junans against Glen this Sunday at 1:30. Highland's coverage of St Junans in the Ulster Championship is with Highland Motors Mountaintop Letterkenny with a 100% electric Renault Zoe E-Tech. Now available with 0% finance, €1,000 green bonus and free home charger. Terms and conditions apply.
Do you need a little extra help staying in your home? At Bluebird Care, we offer a wide variety of QMark-approved personalised home care services across Donegal. And our fully trained and committed staff will always meet your care needs with kindness, compassion and dignity. To get your personal home care assessment plan, visit bluebirdcare.ie or call our care team today on 07491 29562 and bring care home.
Sometimes tickets from 6545 go on sale Thursday, November 25th at 8 a.m. Maybe subject to fees. I'm shameless. Garth Brooks, live at Croke Park, Friday and Saturday, September 9th and 10th. Tomorrow never comes. Presented by Aiken Promotions.
Live, on air, online, and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
It is 10 o'clock. Good morning. I'm Catherine Gaffney. The head of NEFIT's modelling group says there's every hope that over 400 COVID patients won't end up in ICU next month. Professor Philip Nolan is urging people to reduce their social contacts by a third to bring the virus back under control. New restrictions will see restaurants, bars and nightclubs close at midnight tonight and a work-from-home policy take effect tomorrow. Professor Nolan says there's still time to stop hospitals being overwhelmed.
The reproduction number is currently about 1.3. We only need to reduce their contacts or to mitigate the risk of contacts by about a third to bring the virus back under control. I remain optimistic. People, if they hear the message, get back to the basics, there is every hope that we won't see the scenarios set out in the model.
Labour says the HSE needs to increase its COVID testing capacity to cut down on delays in getting an appointment. 6 counties, Donegal, Sligo, Roscommon, Monaghan, Mayo and Cavan, have no available slots at self-referral clinics today. The HSE has capacity for around 200,000 PCR tests weekly. Labour's health spokesperson Duncan Smith says the waiting times aren't good enough.
If you wake up this morning with symptoms and you take an antigen test and it's positive, or indeed you don't have an antigen test and you just have symptoms, you will not be able to get a test in Dublin until about 1:30 tomorrow afternoon. It's at the point now where it really is having knock-on impacts for contact tracing and everything down the line, and it's something that the HSE really need to get ahead of here.
With the Irish government once again urging people to work from home, the Cross Border Workers Coalition says this makes it all the more imperative that the government tackle the issue of cross-border taxation. The coalition say that thousands of cross-border workers face financial penalties from January if the issue isn't addressed. There's calls on the government here to support employees. Co-chair Aidan O'Kane says there are genuine fears among workers that the home working flexibility they were granted since the pandemic began is set to be lost.
What we would be asking is for a simplification or a harmonisation of tax rules which allow people who live in Donegal but work for companies in Derry, for example, to be able to be taxed at source at HMRC and not face that double taxation liability to the Irish revenue.
OCO Global are set to establish a strategic base in GTech in Gweedore to facilitate their continued expansion into the Irish market. Headquartered in Belfast, the international trade and investment consulting firm works with governments around the world and advises private sector clients on international expansion. Guidor will join other OCO global offices in such as London, Paris, New York and Los Angeles, to name but a few. CEO of Uthras na Gaeltachta, Micheál O'Heaney, says the availability of talent in Donegal plays an important role in attracting companies like these to the county.
This follows on the decision by Pangea from Switzerland to establish their European headquarters in the Donegal Gaeltacht based on the availability of such space. And as well as that, I think very importantly for us, the availability of talent and the ability to recruit good talent in Donegal is a very important part of being able to attract these companies.
Gardaí say they're yet to confirm a single case of injection spiking despite a number of complaints. The issue was highlighted on social media in recent weeks when women said they'd received puncture marks during nights out. However, officers say they're awaiting toxicology reports to determine what exactly happened. Meanwhile, the force says it has recorded less than 25 drink spiking instances so far this year, compared to 10 such cases in 2020. And Garth Brooks is set to play Croke Park next year after confirming dates for 2 shows. It's expected another 3 concerts will be added to the 2 announced today on September the 9th and 10th. The country music star famously cancelled 5 sold-out gigs at Croker in 2014 after licences were refused for 2 of them. Colm Stevens from the Clonliffe and Croke Park Area Residents Association says too many concerts are being allowed to go ahead.
Anything more than 3 in a year, we would object to. We think it's unfair. It's nothing more than an exercise in corporate greed. It doesn't do anything for the area, bar a few low-paid, jobs.
Weather now mostly cloudy today with some patches of rain, drizzle and mist, mainly during the morning. The cloud will break in some areas during the course of the day, allowing a few bright spells to develop. A mild day with temperatures 12 to 15 degrees. That's it for now. We're back with the headlines for you at 11 o'clock. Until then, good morning. The obituary notices for Thursday morning, the 18th of November. The death has taken place of Sean Crumlish, Upper Ballybrack, Moville. His remains will repose at his home from 12 noon today. Funeral from there on Saturday morning at 10:30 for 11 o'clock requiem mass in St Mary's Church, Ballybrack, followed by burial in the adjoining graveyard. The death has occurred of Maura Meenan, the Glebe, Stranorlar, reposing at her home from 5 o'clock this evening. Funeral leaving her late residence on Saturday morning at 10:30 for requiem mass in the Church of Mary Immaculate, Stranorlar at 11 o'clock. Interment afterwards in Stranorlar Cemetery. The requiem mass will be streamed live via the parish webcam. House and funeral will be private to family, neighbours and close friends only, please. The death has occurred of James Armstrong, formerly Cregan, Ballybuffet. His remains are reposing at McCool's Chapel of Rest in Ballybuffet, with visiting time for family, neighbours and close friends today from 7 until 9 o'clock. Funeral leaving from there tomorrow at 1:30 for service of Thanksgiving in Stranorlar Parish Church at 2 o'clock. Interment afterwards in the adjoining churchyard. Donations in lieu of flowers, if so desired, to Medical Forward, Letterkenny University Hospital, care of any family member. The death has taken place of Mary Curran, Niece Spence, Clondevadog Church Hill. Removal from the Eternal Light Chapel of Rest, Mountain Top, Letterkenny, today at 6 o'clock to arrive at St Columkill's Church, Glendowen for 6:45 to repose overnight. Funeral Mass at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning, followed by burial in Garton Cemetery. The funeral Mass can be viewed on churchservices.tv. The death has occurred of Anne Doyle, Nee Gill, the Rock Road, Trim, County Meath, and formerly of Coventry and Gortfad, Clonmany. Reposing at her daughter Elaine and Noel's home, the Rock Road, Trim, County Meath, this evening from 4 until 8 o'clock. Funeral Mass in the Church of Our Lady of Lourdes, Dangan, Summerhill, County Meath, tomorrow at 12:30, followed by burial in the adjoining cemetery. The funeral mass can be viewed live on churchmedia.tv/camera/Church of the Assumption Cool. And the death has occurred of Raymond McGlynn, Doon, Terman, and formerly of Clagan, Church Hill. His remains are reposing at his late residence. Funeral service in Trenta Presbyterian Church tomorrow afternoon at 2 o'clock, followed by burial in the adjoining cemetery. Family time from 10 p.m. to 10 a.m. Family flowers only, please. Donations, if desired, to the Donegal Hospice. The service can be viewed on the Trenta Presbyterian Church Facebook page. For more details, including any family health guidelines for wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
Oh, look. Tom and Mary Murphy are proud to announce the engagement of their daughter Niamh to Rory O'Donnell.
Aw.
5-door hatchback for sale, 1 previous owner, full service history, 3 months NCT.
Like getting your money's worth? Enjoy the delicious triple cheeseburger. Just €2.90 from the McDonald's Eurosaver menu.
With all the stories that matter across the Northwest, it's Greg Hughes on the 9 to Noon Show on Highland Radio.
And you're very welcome back to the second hour of the programme. A very good morning to you at 10:10. Now, a caller says, following on from our conversation a little earlier on, I always have and do, and I will respect and treat with equality all people. But I object to our schools being saturated with LGBT agenda all week. Many children are upset and made very uncomfortable with the pushing of LGBT flags and signs and want to stay off school. The rainbow has been confiscated by LGBT, which is not fair. Bullying is prevalent in many walks of life, sad to say, and should be tackled in a wide, general way. And, you know, I've heard that view expressed before, that people feel that, and I've had, and listen, you have to have all types of conversations, that sometimes, you know, teenagers of a certain age might be a little bit confused. You know, they've got different hormones running through their body, and I know I've heard some parents say, and you know, open-minded parents say they're a little bit concerned that could, you know, sway their children one way or other. Now, I'm sure there's no scientific basis for that, or I'm not aware of it, but those are real and genuine concerns as well, and feel free to share them. I think all views have to be aired, especially since that's such a respectful comment we heard before. It's not the person's very open-minded and believes in equality. They just have some concerns about this week in their school. 086 60 25,000 WhatsApps or texts. Greg, is it true that only 300 can be vaccinated in Letterkenny at the hub now since the move from LYIT? Would it not be an idea to hire one of the empty buildings like Primerica to use, the Aura or Community Centre, or some of the big vacant spaces in the town, and try to get up to figures that we had previously have vaccinated, a few thousand daily? I really think this is a priority now. Well, whether you are in favour of vaccines or not, the bottom line is there is not the demand anymore for the type of vaccination centres that we had previously. You know, over 9 out of 10 people in this county have taken the vaccine now at this stage. So I don't know if there would be the demand. Maybe it's required for the booster programme. I don't know. Talking of pornography, what about Love Island contestants parading around half naked, pulling with my parents? Another one, the list is endless. Children exposed to all this. It's a very sad society that accepts this as the normal. I've sort of expressed my concern about Love Island. The thing I had with it, and maybe it's just me being a just age thing or other, I just thought it waters down commitment and love and choice and thinking things through, and you know, that's my problem with it. I don't know of bikinis or guys in shorts. It's certainly not pornography, is it? Whatever about sort of the attitude towards relationships and stuff, we're never going to stop. I mean, don't go on TikTok if you don't like bikinis and fellas in shorts, and that's where most of the young people are. They're not watching Love Island. But I take your point. are children exposed to it? Who's exposing the children to it? I mean, Love Island, what age should you allow your children to watch that at? You know, there's parental responsibility here. We can rule and legislate, but we also have to have parental responsibility too, don't we? Back to school, 3/4 of my child's school off with COVID. It spreads in all classes. It's a huge outbreak. It certainly spreads in schools. Well, officially it doesn't, see, and they keep insisting that it doesn't. And I think that's a great reason why they're not reading the room correctly, because a lot of people have people in school or are connected to people in school and they know what's going on, but they say it's not happening in schools, and then they count the cases in the household then, and if they do that, isolate the entire house. Doesn't make much sense to me. Was in Strabane, not very many wearing masks in a supermarket, plenty of coughing and spluttering. It's a joke, they say. Figures going up in the Strabane Derry area, unfortunately. Here in Donegal, by the way, actually I should say that we have the 6th lowest rate of infection of COVID in the entire country. The 6th lowest. Now, obviously everyone talks about Donegal when we're top of the tree, but we're 6th lowest at the moment. So there are, 20 counties above us in the Republic in terms of the amount of COVID in the community. Now, I would hope it's passed through us. A lot of people vaccinated. 15% of the population have been vaccinated. Part of me thinks, though, one vaccination centre in Letterkenny, one testing centre in Letterkenny, one in Donegal Town. Not sure how much the Donegal Town one is used. Are people bothering going for a test? No testing, no cases. I don't know. Anyway, a little bit later on, we might discuss that, tease that a little bit, see what the crack is. Okay, did you see the photo of Mr. Paul Reid cozying up to Johnny Giles at the Aviva Stadium, neither wearing masks and ignoring social distancing? How on earth can the public take anything they say seriously when they can't even lead by example? The kind of incident, together with Mr. Ryan's double COVID test fiasco, has made the public very cynical about the recommendations and could be doing untold damage to our efforts to suppress the virus. I referenced that Paul Reid picture yesterday. I don't think there's any breach of regulations. The optics of it, though, not great. I mean, if you're in a pub, you can chat to people. I don't know. There's people are asking you to stay a certain distance, but there's no obligation to do so, especially if you're having a dance. Hi, Greg. Can you clarify for me, please? I'm a close contact and I'm not vaccinated. Do I self-isolate it for 5 or 10 days? 5, apparently. But if you are not, it's very confusing. If you're not symptomatic, you take 5. If you've got symptoms, you're supposed to go and get a test. But if you don't have symptoms, you take 3 of these antigen tests, day 0, day 2, day 4, and then you're out and about after day 5. That's whether you're vaccinated or not vaccinated. And we're still trying to get some clarity on what's the guidelines for healthcare workers. Still a bit of ambiguity there. Okay, now, I know lots of you waiting to play bingo because it is jackpot day. Hopefully this goes today and one of you have lots of money in your pocket for Christmas. Good luck. Here are the numbers. Stay with us. Interesting chat coming up after these in the break.
It's time for NCBI Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Thursday, the 18th of November, Jackpot Day. You're playing for the jackpot prize of €6,400 on the pink sheet. The reference number is S9. It's game number 46. The jackpot number is 27. This number can come out in any position from the next 10 numbers drawn. And now, here are your daily numbers. 49, 17, 62, 55, 82, 4, 66, 32, 71, and finally 72. Phone your claim to 9104833 before 8 tonight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your NCBI bingo information at highlandradio.com. Today's 9 till noon show is brought to you in association with Ulster Tyres. Are your tyres ready for winter? Call in to Ulster Tyres in Letterkenny and Ballybuffet today.
At Centra, we have everything you need with great offers, like Centra Fresh Irish Whole Chicken 1.9 kilo, only €5. And until Sunday, Cadbury Oreo Seasonal Tin 396 gram, half price now €3. And Heineken 20 bottle box, only €20. Centra, live every day. Enjoy alcohol sensibly.
The day is almost here. Some say the most important one of the year. November 19th is the date when Tesco's Christmas home delivery and click and collect slots are open to book. This Christmas, nothing's stopping us, so give yourself a little help this year and book yours at tesco.ie. Be sure to book early. Slots will be going faster than, well, Santa's sleigh on Christmas Eve. Tesco. Every little helps.
Brian McCormick, Sports and Leisure Main Street Letterkenny, your destination ASICS advisor. Looking to go further and faster, or maybe some cushioning and support. ASICS Gel Keano 28 with added flight foam cushioning to the midsole, accompanied with a new and improved stability system. New range of ASICS for men and women in-store and online. Look the part, play the part. In-store, online, mobile. Click and collect on bmcsports.ie.
Candles, lanterns, Christmas trees, decorations and all types of lights. Everything you need for Christmas. Experience the magic of Christmas at Cooney's. Our biggest and best Christmas shop has outstanding value on lights and trees. There really is something for everyone at Cooney's Letterkenny Retail Park.
Connect Hearing are offering a free hearing test at the Courtyard Shopping Centre Letterkenny and Dunlow Clinic. We also offer a home visit service for test, wax removal and repairs, perfect for those who are unable to visit our centres. Are you struggling to hear the TV or radio? We have the solution. Our wireless devices can be connected to both your TV and phone. With the latest in technology, coupled with a first-class repair and service facility, call us today on 074 91 13296. Connect Hearing, connecting you to life.
Throughout Ireland, change is happening. Together we can build a community of support to empower those living with dementia. Highland Radio, proud to support Dementia Understand Together. Brought to you by the HSC.
Sometimes tickets from 6545 go on sale Thursday, November 25th at 8 a.m. Maybe subject to fees. Garth Brooks, live at Croke Park, Friday and Saturday, September 9th and 10th. Tomorrow never comes. Presented by Aiken Promotions.
Christmas is well underway at Letterkenny Shopping Centre. Park for free and get everything you need. Thank you for shopping with us this Christmas. Letterkenny Shopping Centre, bringing you the time at
10:20. We welcome on to the programme Deputy Pádraig McLaughlin, Sinn Féin Party Whip in the Dolan, spokesperson on fisheries and the marine. Good morning to you, Deputy. Sorry, I don't have your fader up. That's my bad. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Greg.
Just a couple of things before we get on to the important matter that you're going to be raising. Are you confused by this latest announcement from government as it relates to these new restrictions? You know, what we're seeing is nightclubs running, Copperface Jacks, for example, running 7 nights a week, 6 p.m. to 12 p.m. I'm not sure what material effect it will have in terms of people mixing in great numbers in certain environments. No word of ventilation. There's some confusion as to whether healthcare workers actually have to isolate for 5 days. You know, how long will it take people to get these antigen tests out? You know, and do people really know how to use them correctly? I see the HSC's a video up, 11,000, 12,000 views of a population of 5 million. We're only heading in one direction, aren't we? This is all just really to soften us up for the inevitable?
Yeah, I think the most frustrating aspect of all is the antigen testing. I mean, we had very eminent people in Ireland and internationally who constantly recommended that we avail of antigen testing. Obviously, a quick turnaround. It should be free. As it is in many other European countries right now. And that would give people the comfort and security that they need in a range of settings. I have huge sympathy for the hospitality industry, obviously pubs and nightclubs that have been closed down for so long. And it's just desperate news for them. And realistically, particularly in nightclubs, you know, people would be going there late, you know, while they're out socialising. So we need to know about what supports are going to be in place for the workers, for those businesses. And that's not clear at all in terms of the pandemic.
Have you seen any evidence to say that, say, for instance, nightclub, late bars are a hotbed for I mean, have we done away now with statistics and evidence? I mean, do we know that this is where the cases are coming from? Because every parent in this county believes that it's spreading in schools, but they're being told it's not. Those school cases will be counted now as household cases, and that household will have to isolate for 5 days, and the knock-on effect that will have. And yet we're closing down nightclubs, whilst at the same time putting school buses back to 100% capacity from next week. Like, can you unravel any of that? Does any of that make sense? Is any of it evidence-based from an opposition party's perspective?
No, I mean, and we haven't been given any of the evidence that formed the basis of these decisions. I mean, in fairness to the teachers, they have, raised serious concerns about the removal of contact tracing. No, this is just having a range of staff in place, who obviously, just keep an eye on this virus in the schools, give that bit of extra security for parents and teachers, and people aren't stupid. I mean, people have made huge sacrifices, Greg, in this country, and I'm conscious, we're talking to people at Donegal today, huge sacrifices in their personal lives, in their business lives, in their family lives. They've done everything they can to try and get beyond this, but it's just the contradictions, the lack of planning, the lack of resourcing on an ongoing basis that I find exasperating. The problem is that people will, if things make sense, if people can make logic of what they're being asked to do, they'll do it. But there's a lot of things that just haven't made sense.
What would your party do different? Say you got that letter from Tony Holohan on Monday evening. Now, the timeline of this to me, and I mentioned it earlier on the programme, and this is not a criticism of this is not politics. For me, it's not. I'm not talking about politics here. This is just the people that are making the decisions. I don't care if they're what party they're members of or not. And I hope the listeners understand that. I truly don't care. But they got a letter Monday. They met on Tuesday morning, right? And they had the decision made by Tuesday lunchtime. That, to me, seems a very short space of time to make these fundamental yet obviously flawed decisions, because nightclubs are still going to operate, but earlier. People who had delayed weddings for three times are having to change their plans for Saturday and Sunday, not taking account any of that. The confusion as to whether teachers or healthcare workers also have to isolate for 5 days. The impact it will have on our health service if nurses and doctors do, and GPs particularly, if a child comes back from school with COVID, GP out of commission for 5 days. Even if they're triple jabbed, right? All of that was decided in the space of 3 or 4 hours. But what would your party have done differently, though, in fairness?
Well, our health spokesperson, David Cullen, as you know, you'll be speaking to him tomorrow. He's in Donegal, visiting the hospital, meeting the campaign groups in the county tomorrow. But he has made it clear in recent days that the absence here is for planning. So there's 2 big issues that stand out to me, is the whole issue of the booster vaccination, the issue of the resourcing of our hospitals. So, in Letterkenny Hospital, before this pandemic, we had 19 people on average. Every single day, 19 people on average were on trolleys, couldn't get a bed within the hospital. That's before the pandemic. So we knew that we had an under-resourced hospital system. And here we are now, going into the winter, in the summer, the preparation. So what was in the budget? Not one additional inpatient bed, acute bed was provided for. Not one additional bed in the community hospitals. So inevitably, if you have any upsurge at all, your hospital system is clogged. My office is under ferocious pressure now every day, with people who have hospital appointments cancelled, can't get transferred to hospitals in Dublin and Galway for really, these are life-saving procedures, not minor procedures we're talking about. And that's the pressure that's on the systems. That's the first thing. The antigen testing, the total confusion around all of that would play a huge role. And then, of course, the booster vaccination. And I see the difficulty is, because none of those things were done, then inevitably we find ourselves back in this place again.
The only thing is I would say, and as I hear you, and people will think you're saying all the right things, I only have to look 25 miles to the east of where I'm sitting here today, and things are moving even slower in Northern Ireland, where your party has significant support and significant influence. Is only talking now about COVID certs, in fairness, it's Robin Swan that pushed that. Hospitals under immense pressure, over 100% capacity. GPs under immense pressure. 12, 13 people dying a day. Hospitals turning ambulances away from the front doors. Like, if you can't influence what's going on up in the 6 counties, how could anyone trust you to be able to influence what's happening in the 26?
Well, the difference in the North, as you know, Greg, is that unfortunately the model of the North is funded by the British government. So if you look at investment in health services, they have been running down the National Health Service, which is, in fairness, been one of the great things, in fairness for the British people. One of the great things they did was develop a National Health Service after the Second World War. But as you know, in England, Scotland, Wales, and in the north of Ireland, that system has been run down for a long period. But I just want to say something.
All right, let's just say one thing, because you talk about planning here, Deputy, right? And you talk about leadership, right? Very few people wear a mask in Northern Ireland. Is your party actively encouraging people to wear masks in Northern Ireland? I don't know. Are they? Are you actively encouraging people, if symptomatic, to go and get a test? You know, are you actively on the airwaves all the time saying we need to improve the use of antigen tests? We need to fast track. Certs. If that is what you believe, you know, because you can say it's London and London fund this, that and the other. Okay, but you have influence, and I don't see that influence being exercised up there. And it feels to me like one thing is happening with your party in 6 counties, and then you're saying all the right things in the 26.
Well, just to be clear, the 6 counties
just let me ask you, from what I've just said there, do you think I have a point or not?
No, if you're telling me that you find the form of government in the north of Ireland not effective, I totally agree with you. I think that we have basically a glorified county council up in Stormont that doesn't have any hands on actual finances to make the difference to people's lives. I find it a desperately frustrating form of government.
You can try and influence the public. You can try and exercise influence. You can push to move things forward.
I'm happy to answer that question too. I think if you go through the social media of all, particularly of Michelle O'Neill, our joint First Minister, but if you look across our MLAs, you'll see that all of them have consistently, and when it was popular or unpopular, have appealed to people. Now, can I just clarify one point, because you mentioned about the certificates, the vaccine certificates. The difference in the north is that you can avail of an antigen test, a PCR test, or a certificate. It's not the same as down here. A lot of people are concerned that they have made a decision not to take the vaccine and they're being excluded from society. That is not the case in the north. In the north, you can avail of a PCR test, an antigen test, or the certificate, whatever one works to give the necessary comfort that people require.
Is your party actively, because I haven't seen it, lobbying London for more resources for hospitals, like on a constant basis, the same as you are doing in the Republic, saying that we need more investment? If in power, we'll provide more investment. I know things work differently there. Is Michelle O'Neill using her Twitter campaign to @ Boris Johnson and say our hospital system is collapsing over here, we need extra funding? Is that happening all the time, in tandem with trying to get the public health message across? Because I'm not hearing it, but I mean, because I'm not hearing it doesn't mean it's not happening. Maybe you can tell me that that's what you're flat out doing in the 6 counties, the same way you are in the Republic.
Of course. I mean, we're Irish Republicans. We don't want to be having to deal with the British government, with a Tory government. On top of that, Conor Murphy is the Minister for Finance, a Sinn Féin minister in the north. I mean, he is an Irish Republican, is held back by British Tories from delivering the type of society that our people need. I mean, like, I find Stormont, as an Irish Republican, deeply, deeply frustrating. I see it as a very frustrating transition on the way to United Ireland. I want the Irish people, and only the Irish people, to decide on the type of society that we run. And that's unfortunately what we're left with in the north. I feel so sorry for all political leaders in the north. It's deeply frustrating. And yes, of course, they're fighting all the time against a Tory government that don't give a damn about the people of the north, if we're being honest about it.
Right, okay. That's not what you commend for, but I appreciate your views on it. You are raising the issue of the land registry. This is an interesting one. It's kind of a problem, I think, unless you're affected by it, no one would be aware. So can you briefly outline to us what changed and what impact it's had on people?
Yeah, thanks, Greg. I mean, I first came across this a number of years ago, and I won't name any names or identify locations because some of these matters are subject to legal dispute. But basically, this man said to me that whenever the land registry, it's now called the Property Registration Authority of Ireland, the PRAI, whenever they digitised the mapping system and the conveyancing system, there were changes to the maps that were in place that led to conflict between adjoining landowners. And in Ireland, obviously, people are very proud of their wee bit of land holding on the surf. So unfortunately, this man got into conflict with a neighbour and ended up costing him tens of thousands. So that was my first, and he was very traumatised by everything he'd been through. I do believe that he was a victim of an injustice, as it happens. And then more people came to me over time incrementally, and I'd say now I have about 7 or 8 cases that I am very clear that the maps, which were Ordnance Survey of Ireland maps, there were hard copy maps that they had along with their folio over the years, that these don't correspond. In some cases, you can see the lines are going down the middle of a field, the lines are going down the middle of a house. Clearly, there are errors. The problem is the Land Registry, wherever there's a dispute, will not accept responsibility. Now, a couple of years ago, Greg, and this is an important point I brought to the Minister's attention, there was a interprofessional task force on property boundaries. So basically, the Irish Institution of Surveyors, Law Society of Ireland, Royal Institute of Architects Ireland, Engineers Ireland, Bar Council Ireland, Irish Planning Institute. So they came together, all of those bodies with these professionals. They were seeing there were problems, there were mistakes being made, and they made recommendations to government. And those recommendations, to me, have been ignored. But why is it back now on the floor of the Dáil? I thought this was just an issue in Donegal. I actually sent a letter out to councillors, Sinn Féin councillors around Ireland a number of years ago, and it wasn't coming up in other locations, apparently. But in the last week, I received correspondence from a family in Galway who had spotted that I'd been raising this in the Dáil and emailed me. So I spoke to them, and it turns out that they are aware of people in Galway, Clare and Wicklow who've experienced the same. And there's no mediation process, Greg. People are left to fight with their neighbours. It's really cruel, really, really cruel.
Now, just like, this is not in any way to reduce the seriousness of what we're talking about now, but there are companies out there that you can employ a couple £100 a day or something. They'll come out, right, and they will survey your land, and they're able to actually peg out the boundary. Now, I'm not sure if they reference the digital maps or the old maps, but at that point, if I were to do that, right, which map is the legal one? Is it the new digital maps or is it the old one? In other words, could I appeal how my land is now represented in the new digital map? Would I get a hearing and could get that changed? That's too late for the people we're talking about here. But what's the...
Yeah, I mean, basically those various professional institutes in that report, what they were saying to the Land Registry, it's now called the Property Registration Authority of Ireland, what they were saying to them is, you need to work with the digitised version, the more precise, modern mapping. That's the standard you should uphold. And where there's a discrepancy between previous maps, put in place a mediation process, But what's happened, unfortunately, Greg, is that where you might have one landowner, I do believe some landowners have been opportunistic. They've gained a bit of...
It's going to benefit one party in a two-party situation.
Exactly, Greg. And what happens is they're staking claim on the land, putting in place, fences and so on. And it's actually putting neighbours, and indeed in some cases family, into conflict with each other, and costing them a fortune of money in some instances. Like, it's really cruel. And I can't believe that the Land Registry and the government have not put in place a mediation process. I've known about this now for at least 8 or 9 years, and it hasn't been sorted out. So I raised it with the Ministry yesterday. I'm dealing with... one thing, Greg. I spoke to a professional yesterday in Donegal, and I asked that person how many cases just they have come across, and they says 20 cases, at least 20. That's one professional in Donegal. So I would say there's hundreds of families in Donegal who've been affected.
But those professionals, and that's the companies I'm talking about, you can employ them, right? And if they say, like, if they use the old maps, right, and they contradict the digital maps, do we know at this point if the PRAI will adjust the digital maps? Do you know what I mean? So in other words, you can pay these guys, they'll come in and they'll say, no, that digital map's off, but will the PRA adjust that?
The difficulty is the PRA, I have been saying they've been saying, here is the boundary and that's it. We're right and that's the end of story.
That's going to be a problem.
And then you have one neighbour who I believe a lot of people have lost land and lost a lot of money, and other neighbours have benefited, rather than just saying, here is our assessment, let's all come together. So let's get these landowners, let's have a mediation process and agree with common sense as to what exactly. And I can just tell you, The good news is that there were some neighbours and family who spotted this discrepancy, and they came together and agreed with common sense, right, this is clearly the boundary. There's a mistake made here. It shouldn't be going through the middle of your house. Clearly, I don't own the middle of your house. And you work it out, and you go back to land registry. And I understand in those instances there has been agreement to amend the maps.
But also we know from our regular sort of legal question slot, this is the type of stuff that people get very, very emotive about, and understandably so. And it's something they... Have you had any commitment as to what might happen going forward? Because you've raised this. Was it accepted that you know that there's an issue here, and any committal to look into it at the least?
There's been ongoing reluctance from a number of ministers, because this infamous, and we see it now again with the mica and pyrites nightmare, is this issue of the cost of the state, exposing costs to the state. And, you know, the Attorney General whispers in the ear of the department official. So this issue has remained unresolved. So I'm going back at it again for another round, because I just think it's desperately unfair, and there must be some way of mediating this out without people falling out with their family or neighbours. Right, we'll watch on with interest, because there's a lot of interest in that, I'd imagine. Thank you very much, Deputy. I appreciate your time and answering all the questions this morning. Thanks a million, Greg. Thank you. Take care. Deputy Patrick McLaughlin, Sinn Féin Party Whip in the Dáil, spokesperson on fisheries and the marine. And just to be clear, it's not that I want all of those things introduced into Northern Ireland, or I believe that they should. My question was along the lines of, if that's what you're saying in the Republic, why aren't you, as far as I can see, and the Deputy answered, why aren't you saying the same thing in the North? I don't want anyone thinking I'm not sort of saying this should happen, that should happen, it should happen sooner. That's for people on way better money than me, and with far more intelligence than me to sort out.
Today's 9 till noon show is brought to you in association with Ulster Tyres. Get your tyres ready for winter. Call in to Ulster Tyres in Letterkenny and Ballybuffet today.
Have you got a one-for-all gift card that you've yet to spend? Now is the perfect time. Go and treat yourself in any of the 11,000 one-for-all retail partners before December 31st, and you could win €10,000 in cash. Pennies, Argos, B&Q, Curry's PC World, TK Maxx and many more. Simply spend your gift card and visit oneforall.ie/win for your chance to win. Terms and conditions apply. The One for All gift card is issued by GVS Prepaid Europe Limited. GVS Prepaid Europe Limited is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
€74 per hectare eco-scheme payment. For more in your Farmer's Journal, here's Paul Mooney.
Our new CAP series reveals how eco-schemes will work and what you will need to do to draw down your payment. Find out which counties would win or lose from 100% convergence. With soaring fertiliser prices and dangerously low stocks, will there be enough stock for farmers next spring?
And don't miss our Winter Ready focus inside this week's Irish Farmer's Journal. You cannot afford to miss it.
Everyone tells us how important it is to shop around for motor insurance. It's the same when it comes to home insurance. You can save a lot of money by calling O'Malley Scanlon Insurance in Ballybuffet and Dunlow. O'Malley Scanlon Insurance really do look after your best interests by getting you the best policy to suit your needs. They've already saved me money on my motor insurance, and now they've saved me money on my home insurance.
When your motor or home insurance comes up for renewal, contact O'Malley Scanlon at their Ballybuffet office on 9131020 or their Dunlow office on 952206. O'Malley Scanlon Insurance is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Clarins Big Beauty Gift is now available at McElhenny's Ballybuffet. Choose 4 treat-sized essentials and a cosmetic bag when you purchase 2 Clarins products, one to be a moisturiser or serum. So why not spoil yourself or someone special this Christmas with our Clarins Big Beauty Gift, available in-store or online at mcelhennys.com.
With such low prices, you've really got to hand it to Lidl this Christmas. Like a 6-pack of Miller bottles, only €9. Or why not treat yourself with our deluxe Panettone Classico for only $4.99? And our Galaxy and Malteser selection boxes get 3 for €9. Lidl, more for everyone this Christmas. Enjoy alcohol responsibly.
People don't become successful by accident. You've got to know what you want. So take off your shoes. Sit down. Reach no further than your tablet. Type in Skoda and you've won. Smile about doing less while some other guy is doing loads. Yawn like you've never yawned before. Smile again about the offers from 0%. Then configure your perfect car and fill out the easy online finance application. It's never been easier to be successful. Finance provided by way of hire purchase agreement from Volkswagen Financial Services Ireland and subject to lending criteria. Terms and conditions apply. Visit skoda.ie for further information.
Your local Skoda dealer is DMG Motors, Clar Road, Donegal Town. Telephone 074 9721 396.
Okay, by the way, in case you missed our music at 10:30, we are pushing that back because we've got live music for you. Is it who I think it is? Yes? TF? Tommy Fleming. Okay, excellent stuff. Right, talking. Right, we'll come back to that in a second. Some of your comments here. Actually, someone messaged me saying that they got the booster vaccine and it said it was valid for 2 months. Now, this could be one of those situations that maybe it's a misprint or misread or something like that. But if you got confirmation that you did get it, is there a validity date on your that with the documentation you're giving with your booster? Have a quick look if you have and let me know. 08660 25,000 or call 074 91 25,000. Brendan, good morning to you.
Good morning, Greg.
Right, you were listening with interest, I imagine, to Deputy Padraig McLaughlin's comments on land boundaries.
Certainly was.
Yeah,
and I want to thank Padraig for his intervention because that's very, very necessary. I have a problem with a site I own where the neighbour came onto my land. He agreed that he would abide by a surveyor to decide on the boundary and would correct whatever wrong was done. I employed my surveyor who told me I needed an instrument, which I didn't know what it was, but it's actually the document that is used initially to register the land when it's first registered and divided. We got that. He marked it out. I was happy with that. My neighbour appointed a different surveyor that specialise in digital land surveying, and they used the digital map. This gave my neighbour the right to go further onto my site. So I thought nothing of it, although my surveyor advised me that this could be a difficult journey. I thought all we had to do was point out the error and it would be corrected. How wrong I was. They have advised, they have inspected on 5 occasions and said that the maps are identical, that there is no error occurred in the digital mapping. And it won't be corrected, so I have 2 choices. The neighbour won't agree now because he has now got more.
He's got the backup.
More land. Yes. So they have the digital map on their side, and so my choice is either agree with them or go to court.
Yeah, it was interesting because you answered the question I was putting to the deputy. In other words, will Land Registry accept, the word of a surveyor that might contradict the new map versus the old map? You've been told quite clearly they stand by the digital maps. The boundaries have been drawn either where they were or they're new and they're sticking.
And they're sticking to that. And they don't accept any responsibility. And they've told me in very clear language, if I want to change, if a judge decides that it needs to be changed, then it will be changed.
So it requires a court order. Okay. How much land would we be talking, Brendan?
We're talking about small sites, but they're very expensive sites.
Yeah, but I'm on about... I'm on about sort of, how a line on a map...
on the boundary, it's 5 metres.
5 metres,
5 metres at one end and 3 metres at another.
Yeah, so it's not insignificant. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, no. Yeah, the boundary line set out by the Land Registry is actually in the centre of the entrance to the site.
So if you go to court, who are you taking to court? Because, is it Land Registry or under their new name because it's they that have changed these maps?
It's actually not the PRAI. It's going to court to present the evidence to say that what I have, this is my original map, against the digital map, and then the judge will rule on which one he decides is right.
But who are you taking the case against? Is it that your neighbour or the PRAI? Oh, neither, mate.
It's neither. It's to establish the boundary line.
Right, okay. So,
and then take it from there. So do you sue the Land Registry? Do I sue my neighbour? Do I sue the surveyor who set out? Because the surveyor who set out the digital map, when that comes from the Land Registry, that is clearly marked, not suitable for boundaries. This is a non-conclusive map.
And also too, Brendan, and this might not apply to you, if someone sold land and then after the fact found that they were out of money because of an inaccurate digital map and the court, backed them up on that, could they have a case then against the state? I mean, you would strongly argue they possibly could.
I expect there is a case against the state. The minister has actually written on my behalf to Charlie McConlogue and said that it's unlikely anything would change because it would expose the state to compensation. And I have that from a government minister.
Right, okay.
So the whole thing is it's a real scandal.
And
Patrick is absolutely right.
Is your case a test case, Brendan, or is there precedent? Has this
As far as I'm concerned, my case is a test case for anybody because it's very simple.
Yeah.
I know other cases will be really complicated because it will be large amounts of land. A lot of things will have happened. In this case, there is an established landmark in very close proximity to the boundary line, which can always be used as a benchmark, which my surveyor identified on the first day he was there.
Okay.
But the other surveyor, there is a clear set of guidelines set out by the Institute of Chartered Surveyors that surveyors should follow when they come to investigate a boundary dispute.
You must feel quite isolated, though, because, obviously the land registry are going to sit in their hands and let you batter away. Your neighbour is going to let you batter away.
Without people like Patrick McLaughlin, it's a lost cause.
Okay, well, listen, I don't know. These things take a long time, but they also can dominate your mind an awful lot. But, Brendan, let us know how it goes.
I will.
Thank
you very much.
All right, thanks for explaining that, by the way. And it cut through a few of the questions that I had, so I appreciate it. 08660 25,000. Greg, says Anne-Marie via email, I never accept cookies straight off. I always either reject them or X out of the banner that pops up, or I choose the cookies I want. The thing is, I believe if a website asks you to accept cookies, they should also give you the option to reject all. You see, they don't. And this is why. And Anne-Marie, what happens, you see, is I for whatever reason, browse, not incognito, but I just browse whereby it doesn't remember stuff, because I don't want links showing that I'd, because then, say there's a lot of sites that I access all of the time, and then they come up as if they've been read, and it confuses me and all that kind of stuff in gathering information. So I personally, and also too, when I log off, I log out of the sites, whereas if cookies enabled or you don't browse incognito, your passwords, and when you're using work computers or whatever, if you just hit X, you signed out of everything. It's handier for me. So I just hit OK to everything. I don't go into more information and tick them off individually. And that's why in my point I was saying I believe now what we do is we actually accept more cookies now and more tracking than we did in the past. But Anne-Marie goes on to say then, not all websites give you the option to just X out of all of them. And if you go into the vendor cookies, I have to switch every one of them off. It could take ages. So what I do then is I leave that website and they've lost my custom. Yeah, okay. I wonder, though, would many of us do that? Right, we are going to be talking about... we're going to be talking about the test centre and capacity that's available there after these.
Today's 9 till noon show is brought to you in association with Ulster Tyres. Winter is coming. Get your tyres winter ready. Call into Ulster Tyres in Letterkenny and Ballybuffet today.
Pull into the forecourt at Kelly Central Letterkenny, and there's so much more than just top quality fuel. Try the Frank and Honest coffee to go, a chicken roll from the Hot Deli, or maybe stop off for a full Irish in the award-winning diner. Browse the weekly shopping offers, or the great Christmas deals in the off-licence. Pull into the award-winning Kelly's Diner, Centra Supermarket and Forecourt at Mountain Top Letterkenny for so much more.
New this week in Home Store and More. All our Christmas table linen is half price. Time to get Christmas ready with festive patterns for the table that is at the heart of every home. But better hurry, because when all our half-price Christmas table linen is gone, it's gone. Also, all Christmas tree lights are still half price. But when all our half-price Christmas tree lights are gone, they're definitely gone. So order online before 2 p.m. today for next day delivery, or drop by your local Home Store and More. Home Store and More. A happy home.
Make Christmas for everyone with incredible deals on household electrics at Dunnes Stores. We've got an amazing offer on Oral-B electric toothbrushes, now better than half price. And selected Morphy Richards kitchen appliances like kettles, toasters and hand blenders are now half price. Plus, with our 10 off 50 grocery voucher, you save even more. Dunnes Stores. Make Christmas for everyone. Terms and conditions apply. Voucher can be used on next grocery shop of €50 or more.
Love swimming? Love it with a level head. Learn about weather, tides and rip currents. Be visible with a brightly coloured hat and tow float. Swim parallel to shore and never alone. Afterwards, get warm quickly. This is Water Safety Ireland. Better safe than sorry. For open water swimming advice, visit watersafety.ie. Supported by the Government of Ireland.
Letterkenny IT's Open Day takes place on Thursday the 18th of November, both on campus and online. Whether you're a Leaving Cert student, a graduate or considering a return to education, there's lots of choice at Letterkenny IT. Visit the campus, explore the exceptional facilities and meet academic and student support staff on the day. If you can't make it to campus, then join online, take a virtual tour, watch live talks and ask your questions. That's Letterkenny IT's Open Day on Thursday the 18th of November, on campus and online. Visit lyit.ie/Open Day for more information.
Join David James and the Highland Radio Outside Broadcast team this Friday from 2:30 till 5 p.m. for a live broadcast from Armacolla Jewellers Main Street, Letterkenny. With all the top jewellery brands, it's a perfect place to find that special gift this Christmas.
Highland Radio weather updates with National Fuels, delivering home heating oil to Letterkenny and the surrounding areas at competitive prices. National Fuels, 9137 400.
Mostly cloudy with patches of rain, drizzle and mist. Cloud will break in some areas during the course of the day, allowing a few brighter sunny spells. A mild day, temperatures of 12 to 15 degrees. Okay, Judith McGlynn joins us on the programme now. Judith, thanks for taking the call today.
No problem.
Right, you are the test centre coordinator at Letterkenny, and I was looking through the test centres. Cork, no availability at one point overnight. Other areas too having difficulty with capacity or a lot of people looking for appointments. Not so in Letterkenny. What's the situation?
I mean, we definitely have a lot of capacity left for the day, Greg, but we find that as the day goes on, our capacity, our capacity is taken up by people booking appointments. I don't know. I don't really know why there's more to book appointments. We aren't definitely not as busy as other parts of the country, as you said rightly. There's parts of the country that are booked up for tomorrow completely, but we do find that we nearly reach our full capacity every day. Okay. I don't know, Greg. I don't know, and this is just me speculating. Is it because people are starting to do more antigen testing?
Geographical too. It's quite a drive to either Letterkenny or Donegal Town for a lot of people. Maybe because of that, we do it in a different way and we book in the morning and head in the evening. I don't know.
Yeah, it could be geographical. I mean, we all know that when Inishowen was open, there was a high uptake there, but we extended our capacity when Inishowen closed to be able to take on whatever the Inishowen people needed. So we do definitely have the capacity here to take on that end of the county, but I don't know if that's the reason, Greg.
In terms of the level of testing that's being done now versus, say, for instance, a month or 2 months ago, Judith, is there a downward trend in the amount of people coming forward for tests?
There actually isn't. When you look at our figures over the last few weeks, there actually isn't. We're still testing an awful lot of people in Donegal over each week. Mm-hmm. So I think when you look at us compared to the rest of the country, it just looks like we're not that busy, but we are still busy.
Okay, and listen, it's not for me or you to decide, I suppose, Judith, but we had high rates for quite some time. We now have the 6th lowest rate. I kind of suspected maybe we're not testing as much. That could lead to a lower rate, but if we're testing as much and the rate is still lower, maybe perhaps there's a lower incident rate in Donegal, and that's the result, maybe.
Maybe. I mean, that you're right, that could be, Greg, but one thing I just would like to say to people is not to be using the antigen test falsely. The antigen test should only be used for people if they're asymptomatic. If people have any symptoms at all, they should be attending for a PCR test and not going on the results of an antigen test. Yeah. So I don't know if that's the reason why we have lower testing. I don't know, but just to make sure that people are aware of that, that you could definitely get false results if you use them when you're symptomatic.
All right, can you just roll up to either Donegal Town or Letterkenny, or do you have to go on a website, or what's the story?
You have to go on a website and you book your own appointment, so just hse.ie and then search for COVID testing, and that takes you through all the steps. It's extremely straightforward. Any problems, you can attend the test centre, and then we'll help you out when you get here.
Yeah, okay. I understand where you're coming from there. Okay, Judith, so in other words, maybe as many people don't require them, but if they do, don't be discouraged by a lack of availability elsewhere. There is capacity in Donegal Town and Letterkenny. That's it in a nutshell, I think.
That is, Greg. And even if they look and there's not much capacity, we create capacity as we need to. So, just if people really need a test, and they can't find availability, come to the test centre and we'll see maybe we need to create more capacity. We keep an eye on that all the time and we try and manage it to provide a timely testing service for people.
All right, listen, thanks very much. I appreciate it. That's Judith McGlynn there. Back with news shortly.
Today's 9 till noon show is brought to you in association with Ulster Tyres. Are your tyres ready for winter? Call into Ulster Tyres in Letterkenny and Ballybuffet today.
Buy a ticket. Buy a ticket in Highland Radio's mega draw to win a car. Win a car. Get your ticket by November 30th and automatically enter an extra draw before the big draw. Big draw. One lucky winner will walk away with €2,000. Imagine, that's Christmas all wrapped up. Christmas sorted. The draw will take place on Wednesday, December 1st on the 9 till noon show. 9 till noon. And you're still in with a chance to win the Kia X-Ceed worth over €28,000. 28 grand.
It's that simple to win that car.
To get your ticket, log on to highlandradio.com. Highland Radio, exceeding your expectations.
If you're really thinking about it, go do it, because you'll feel much better about yourself. People are there to help you and you will get on. Either make a phone call or go on the internet and sign up.
Adult Literacy for Life means having the necessary literacy, numeracy and digital skills to realise your full potential. Visit adultliteracyforlife.ie to find your local service or free phone 1800 20 20 65. Supported by Solace, Education and Training Boards, NALA and the European Social Fund.
Milford Tiles and Wood Flooring Milford Retail Park now open. Large range of wall and floor tiles on display and in stock. Over 70 different laminate floors to suit every pocket. Tilers and wood fitters available. You're welcome to call in and have a look around. Milford Tiles and Wood Flooring 083 091 0707.
This week's special offers at Doherty Central Moville. There's 2 for €7 on Nestle Celebrations, Coca-Cola, Fox's, McVitie's and Cadbury selected range. Centra Fresh Irish strip loin steak, €6. There's Centra Fresh Irish chicken breast fillets, now €6. And Bulmer's Original Light Bottle 20 pack, now €14. With lots more Christmas offers in store at Doherty Central Moville. Enjoy alcohol responsibly.
Bring it back up. Now celebrating at Zalando, the perfect look for your every mood. Enjoy our Cyber Week deals with up to 70% off streetwear, winterwear, gifts and more. Discover all our Cyber Week deals on Zalando.
Bring it back up.
Finn Harps host Longford Town this Friday night for the final game of their Premier Division campaign. Harps know a win at Finn Park will secure their place in the top flight for next season and avoid the relegation playoff. Join Dermot Doherty and Declan Boyle for full match commentary from 7:45 kickoff in Ballybuffet. Finn Harps on Highland in association with B&S Credit Union Ballybuffet, whose big card draw entry is now open. Be in with a chance to win one of 2 cards and thousands in cash prizes. Visit bnscu.ie or free phone 1800 290 390. B&S Credit Union Limited is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Good morning. You are tuned to Ireland's #1 local radio station, Highland Radio. It's the 9 till noon show every weekday. Here with me, Greg Hughes. Another busy hour to come on the show today. We are live music with Tommy Fleming and so much more besides. But at 1 minute past 11, it's time for a news update. Good morning, Catherine Gaffney.
Good morning, Greg. A top NPHET official says it's not inevitable that over 200,000 people will get COVID in December. A midnight curfew on hospitality takes effect later, aimed at reducing the current infection rates and work from home advice from tomorrow. NPHET estimates over 1,000 COVID patients could be in hospital next month, in the best case scenario with over 200 in ICU. There were 49 patients awaiting admission to Letterkenny University Hospital this morning, according to the INMO. It is once again the second most overcrowded hospital in Ireland today. 9 people were on trolleys in its emergency department, while a further 40 were waiting on wards. The Foreign Affairs Minister has warned the UK triggering Article 16 of the Brexit Protocol would strain their relationships with the US. Simon Coveney says there's no need for the British government to suspend parts of the Northern Ireland Protocol. Gardaí have recorded less than 25 drink spiking instances so far this year. That compared to 10 such cases in 2020. Officers say they're also yet to confirm a single case of injection spiking, despite recent complaints. OCO Global are to establish a strategic base at GTech in Gweedore to facilitate their continued expansion into the Irish market. Headquartered in Belfast, the international trade and investment consulting firm works with governments around the world and advises private sector clients on international expansion. And a Donegal TD says there's a very real risk that laws intended to address the climate crisis end up punishing the poor people in society. Speaking during a Dáil debate on a Labour Party bill on carbon labelling, Deputy Thomas Pringle said while labelling is a useful tool, it doesn't begin to address the policies needed to tackle the climate crisis. That's it for now. We're back with more at 12 noon.
OK, Catherine, thank you very much.
Oh, look. Tom and Mary Murphy are proud to announce the engagement of their daughter Niamh to Rory O'Donnell.
Aw.
5-door hatchback for sale, 1 previous owner, full service history, 3 months NCT.
Like getting your money's worth? Enjoy the delicious triple cheeseburger. Just €2.90 from the McDonald's Eurosaver menu.
OK, you're welcome back to the programme. Coming up in the next hour, we've got Tommy Fleming performing for you live in studio. You can listen, of course, on your radio, but if you want to watch that, as you can the entire programme, you can go onto our social media now. We are streaming live across YouTube on Highland Radio Ireland. Give us a like and a subscribe there, very much appreciated. Or you can continue to watch us as well on our Facebook pages, /Highland Hub or Highland Radio News and Sport. OK. Paul Divery is chair of the Donegal branch of the Irish Hotel Federation. You know, Paul, on the face of it, it kind of maybe looked a little bit like hotels were going to get away with this. But the reality is that speaking to those in the industry, we're already seeing some uncertainty, some cancellations, some events being pulled, a lot happening outside the guidelines. But I suppose as the government and NEFIT try and appeal to people's sensibilities, that's where the problems are lying for you.
Yeah, morning, Greg. I think people were probably ahead of the curve on this one. You know, once the numbers went up above 4,000, people could see the writing on the wall, and I suppose people could be described as being sensible and started to pull back on bookings. You know, pull back on Christmas parties and large gatherings. And then when Dr. Tony Houlihan, came out and said that, asked people to reduce their social contacts, and the HSE, sort of recommended pulling back on Christmas parties. That resulted in a huge amount of cancellations. But I suppose, at the end of the day, you have to look at it's a health crisis and look at the pressure that the hospitals are under. So it's a small price to pay, if we can get the hospital situation under control again. Yeah,
it certainly is. But there's something of an inevitability about that end of things, one would sadly feel. But from a business perspective, and not being unkind to the health element of it, the way this has been framed now is that nightclubs are closed. Hotels are going to have less people in but remain open. They're going to have less functions, so they will achieve what they might achieve with a full closure order, okay? But because they're doing it this way, they don't have to assist or compensate you as an employer or the PUP payments to employees. Some would say it's playing the game a little bit.
Yeah, well, from a business perspective, the way you've described that is 100%. That seems to be the way that it is. It's very frustrating because a lot of hotels, especially in rural Ireland or here in Donegal, the Christmas business would be very important from a cash flow point of view. It would carry them over January and February when there's no cash flow, and keep you going until St. Patrick's Day or whatever. So certainly, that might be an approach of the government, but we would certainly be calling, for the continuation of supports so that we can survive the next couple of months.
I can just hear that conversation goes. You as head of the Irish Hotels Federation here, you say, look, we need supports. They say, well, sure, look, we've said you can stay open. You say to them, yeah, but because you told people not to do anything, we're sitting here with the moment empty, and then they shrug their shoulders at you.
Yeah, and that's the frustrating part. people are being responsible by doing what the HSE are telling them to do. And, in turn, that's, as you say, that's wiping out our business. And, it's very frustrating. It's very difficult to see where we're going to replace that business from. Hotels around the county would report, it's not only Christmas parties and functions, it's people that were coming away to hotels and, for weekends or family gatherings or whatever. It's every aspect of the business that's been cancelled, and it's been cancelled at a huge rate. You would nearly think that the government have announced a lockdown with the rate that the cancellations are coming in.
Well, I think what people are doing is they're, firstly, there a lot of people listen to what the government say, and sometimes a minority. It sounds like the minority is the majority, but the majority of people are listening to the guidelines. They do listen to Tony Holohan, but also a lot of them read between the lines and feel the lockdown is coming, and they're thinking, right, I'm going to cancel that hotel anyway, make sure that it's not done at the last minute and it's too late for my refund and that kind of stuff. So you got some people that are restricting their movements because they're being asked to, and others who are saying, right, I could lose this money, or I might as well just cancel it anyway because a lockdown is inevitable. So it's the perfect storm, really, in a negative way for your hotels.
It is. When other lockdowns were announced, we were going to the customer, ringing them up and saying, unfortunately, we have to cancel your booking. It has turned completely on its head. Before there's even a lockdown announced, or if there's going to be a lockdown announced, the customers are coming to us and saying, listen, we don't feel it's safe. We're doing the responsible thing by cancelling. So it's, as I say, it's just knocked the thing completely on its head.
And is your organisation on a national level seeking to meet with government with a view to discussing supports once again, I wonder?
They are. There's a lot of things still up in the air. For example, we don't know. As everyone knows, restaurants and bars and everything have to be closed by 12 o'clock. We don't know if that applies to weddings. We don't know if it applies to...
It does, that was confirmed late last night, Paul. It does apply. All bar activity, whether people are residents or not, has to cease at 12.
Well, if we knew that for definite, the Hotels Federation haven't got that confirmed. That's very frustrating for someone that's getting married, tomorrow or the next day. So all of these, a lot of these decisions are taken without us present. It's up to government to make the decisions, but if we were consulted, we should have more of an input. And, that's the way it's been before. Back last year when they closed Donegal, there was no consultation whatsoever. They just decided on a Wednesday evening that they were closing Donegal on a Friday, and that was it, without any consultation whatsoever from the industry.
And yet here we are now with the 6th lowest infection rate in the country. 20 counties above us. Ours is going currently, and it can change very quickly in a downward trajectory, but that's not in the headlines nationally anyway. All right, Paul, listen, thanks for that. I appreciate it. And I really feel for all of you in the uncertainty. It's not just the public, it's business owners with big buildings that require an awful lot of turnover just to tick along, and to have that boost at Christmas potentially taken away with you, going to leave January, February and into March, long 3 months, but we appreciate you coming on.
As you say, it's the uncertainty that's the killer.
Again, yeah, okay.
Okay, thanks
Paul. Bye-bye, take care. Paul Diver, Chair of the Donegal branch of the Irish Hotels Federation. Some of your comments here. It's a shambles of what is happening. The new digital maps is showing up that someone's shed is in the next door neighbour's garden, or the next door neighbour owns half my garage. Why can't they leave things as they were? It's interesting to start seeing that it's just something I wasn't aware of, and it's really quite interesting. Hi, interesting, not in a good way. It's causing a lot of distress for people. Hi, Greg. Another example of government civil servants' incompetence. The veil covering the behind-the-curtain actions of department officials slips again, just like Paul Benson in housing. Time for a complete route of the departments. The doll's completely ineffective and is no longer fit for purpose, they believe. No one is held to account. It's a real total waste of time. New structures needed ASAP, says Liam. And like when ministers or something don't apologise, where they skirt around the language on big issues, they don't come out and say, look, I'm sorry this happened. It's because it opens the floodgates. They can't say words like that. And I've been saying that on this programme for a long time. And now we're starting to see why, really, because if you admit any responsibility at all, it opens the floodgates. And they're trying to avoid that. And they're trying to avoid it on issues like Micah, on the mother and babies homes to some extent, though there is progress being made there, though many not happy, on this land registry issue. A caller says, along with putting the school buses up to 100%, they're also removing the allowance to operators towards cleaning and disinfecting buses, which at the moment are to be cleaned every day. Wow. I mean, if you look at the figures, the amount of money the government, the Department of Education, spent on hand sanitisers, which, listen, hand washing is very important, sanitisation is important, but the amount of money they spent on hand sanitisers for an airborne virus, okay, this is a virus that would be best dealt with proper ventilation, proper monitors, air purifying systems, and they spent the majority of the money on hand sanitizer. It's that kind of stuff that can be very frustrating. Hi, Greg, could you please highlight to the people of Donegal about the massive pressure nurses are under in the ED and NUH, constantly short with no help from hospital management. They're leaving in their droves as they're burnt out. The hospital ED is dangerous due to the shortage of staff and no one's doing anything about it but hide the fact. But look, we talk about it regularly. I understand. I get the frustration. And I know, speaking to nurses too, people that they're compounded by people saying that this is all a lie, there's nothing going on, and they're down there working very, very long shifts under huge pressure, sacrificing so much time with their family, their own physical and mental well-being, and then you've got people that are saying it's all a load of nonsense. That compounds it from the medical professionals that I be speaking to, and to be honest with you, get much of my guidance from those that are actually working on the ground, see things firsthand and are living a reality. It's they really that perhaps I take most of my thinking on. Greg, can someone answer me? My 2 adult children got vaccinated, but my teenager won't take it because of not knowing what it will, whether it will do any harm. My question is, why aren't schools talking and giving information to teenagers about the vaccine? As a parent, I'm worried my child won't take it as not enough information is given out in secondary schools. Well, I mean, I don't know, do we want schools trying to influence our students in that regard? I understand where you're coming from. The teenager has made a decision, though, and if they are generally healthy, they are at very, very, very low risk, it has to be said, unless they've got underlying health conditions or what. Now, you could say, obviously, I'm not trying to influence it in one way or the other. I just don't know whether we should have schools telling students to get the vaccine. I think that information might be best sourced outside of school, but I understand your concerns. But also, I suppose, if your teenager is a healthy young person, you should get some comfort in that as well until such time as they make up their mind one way or other. Could you please announce that our event due to take place this evening, Twilight Tales at 6:30pm in Greencastle Community Centre, is postponed until the new year. Online storytelling will take place on Friday at 6:30pm. That comes in from Susan McAleer, who's the centre manager there. All right, more on the way.
Today's 9 till noon show is brought to you in association with Ulster Tyres. Winter is coming. Get your tyres winter ready. Call in to Ulster Tyres in Letterkenny and Ballybuffet today.
Zero. It gets a bad rep. Like when people say they have zero interest in something. Well, if you're thinking of buying an electric car this year, you'll find this interesting, because at Nissan we see the power of zero. Introducing the Nissan Leaf Power of Zero offer. Buy a brand new 100% electric zero emissions Nissan Leaf and get 1 year's free servicing, a free home charger, the lowest electric finance offer on the market, and great savings on running costs. Now that's the power of zero. Find out more at nissan.ie.
At AIB, we don't make technology for you to bank. We make it for you to live. Just watch. So you can apply and get a loan through your AIB app or online. Knocking this out like it ain't no thing. All from the comfort of home. Banking to fit the way you live. AIB, we back doing. Lender criteria, terms and conditions apply. Over 18s only, subject to approval. Security may be required. Allied Irish Banks PLC is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
This winter, be ready. Visit winterready.ie. From flooding, storms, snow and freeze to fallen trees, winter is hard to predict. Find out how to protect yourself, your home, farm, business and the elderly on the Office of Emergency Planning website, winterready.ie, or follow us on Twitter at emergency.ie. An initiative of the Government of Ireland.
The day is almost here. Some say the most important one of the year. November 19th is the date when Tesco's Christmas home delivery and click and collect slots are open to book. This Christmas, nothing's stopping us, so give yourself a little help this year and book yours at tesco.ie. Be sure to book early. Slots will be going faster than, well, Santa's sleigh on Christmas Eve. Tesco. Every little helps.
ho ho, festive folk, it's fair to say we deserve to go big this Christmas. And at TK Maxx, we've got every fabulous gift you need to Christmas to the max. There's designer steals for everyone, from your mum to your secret Santa. Big love at small prices this Christmas at TK Maxx.
Join David James and the Highland Radio Outside Broadcast team this Friday from 2:30 till 5 p.m. for a live broadcast from Armacolla Jewellers Main Street, Letterkenny. With all the top jewellery brands, it's a perfect place to find that special gift this Christmas.
At Letterkenny Shopping Centre, we're already dreaming about the festive season, so why not make a start? Park for free and enjoy your Christmas shopping this year. Letterkenny Shopping Centre, bringing you the time at
17 minutes past 11. Now, World Day of Remembrance for Road Traffic Victims is to be commemorated on Sunday, the 21st of November. 24,663 killed and 84,977 seriously injured on Irish roads since records began. And that is just devastating for those that lost their lives before their time, but for family, loved ones, partners, sons, daughters, grannies and granddads, mums and dads, friends groups. It's absolutely heartbreaking on such a scale. Carmel Boner, very sadly, knows all too well the emotion of losing a loved one. Jamie passed away or died in this collision, the 8th person to die on Donegal roads in 2020. Carmel, tell us a bit about Jamie, if you don't mind.
Morning, Greg. Well, Jamie, he was a happy, easygoing young lad. He got on great with young and old, loved his cars, I suppose, like most young lads, tractors and machinery, and he was well liked by everyone who knew him, and that's reflected in the support as a family we are receiving today. September the 1st can only be described as the darkest day of our lives, getting that devastating news. It's every parent's worst nightmare. Jamie was in a 2-car collision near Creasla. He was a front seat passenger and he died at the scene. So,
do you ever come to terms with something like this, Carmel? Because it's completely against nature. Do you sometimes expect him to walk into the kitchen or whatever?
Oh, definitely, without a doubt. Like there's so many times, so many things I've seen that I just think, I must tell Jamie, or I see somebody that looks like him in the distance, or every time we hear a tractor, it's because Jamie was always on the tractor, and it's the small things. It's not always the big days and the big things, it's the small things. It could be a song, a smell, food that he liked to eat. It's just, I don't think it'll never sink in that Jamie won't be coming back home.
And then we don't realise maybe how many important days there are in years between your own birthday, his birthday, Christmas.
That's right.
It's every, as I say, unless you're faced with this loss, we probably don't realise how there's so many days that just trigger feelings like, why isn't he here? What would be happening if he was here? It just must be so difficult, Carmel.
It's very difficult because Clara, our girl, her confirmation took place just a week after his funeral. And we went through the motions and we done what we could for her, but just that one face wasn't in the picture. That won't be in our family pictures anymore. And his 21st birthday is coming up now on the 3rd of January. So that's going to be another difficult time for us. Yeah. And a lot of families, not just us, there's a lot of families that are grieving the same, going through the same. And it's not until you're in that position to get lost somebody that you realise that, your heart is never going to be the same. Life's never going to be the same, unfortunately.
And the reason, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, Carmel, firstly, in speaking, obviously it's remembering Jamie, and we'll be talking about an event in his memory shortly, but presumably too, you don't want any other family to go through what you're going through.
Oh, definitely not. And unfortunately, I often say that to parents, I hope you never have to experience what we're going through, but unfortunately every day there's there's tragedies on the road, and it's not just on the road, it's everywhere, but the roads are very dangerous and have to be respected, and people to be mindful. And I know every day doesn't matter what we do, we're taking a chance in life, but the roads are so dangerous. And
but
it's a
so
call
much of
that
it
I
can
hope
be avoided, Carmel, too. You know, like going forward, if we all change our habits a little bit, I mean, sometimes something's going to happen and it's very hard to avoid it, but much of what happens on a road can be avoided.
Yeah, well, I suppose so, but you know, there's a lot of conditions, you know, different things. I suppose it could be maybe weather conditions.
100%,
it could be something very simple. It could be
road conditions.
You know, road conditions. It could be, you know, just avoiding something on the road. It doesn't have to be, you know, it's not always speed.
Oh yeah, 100%. You're right. Yeah. And those are the cases that I'm talking about, Carmel. And I often reference, you know, one of a huge important factor is the likes of road conditions, for example. That can also be a big contributing factor. Tell us what you're doing to remember Jamie, or in his name, Carmel.
Yeah, well, Sunday now, third Sunday in November is World Day of Remembrance for Road Victims. So we just felt it would be a nice way to honour Jamie's short life by holding a modified vintage car show. And with the help of the Midwest and Donegal Vintage Club and their members, they're helping us out. So we're having that in the school, the Ross's Community School grounds in Dunlow here from 12 to 4 p.m. And we just feel Jamie had a great interest in cars, and he had bought a Sierra to restore it last winter. So in his memory, Declan, his dad, and his brother Shane, along with a family friend, carried out this and his wish, and they have it restored and ready for Sunday.
Oh, wow. So it's going to get sort of public premiere as part of this show almost.
Yeah. Hopefully it'll be a good day and everything will go well.
Yeah, well, it's given cold, dry weather, I think, for Sunday.
That's good, as long as the rain stays away for a while. And, you know, it's... I suppose there's a lot of worthy charities out there needing donations, but we just chose two that are very close to our hearts. And I hope that Jamie will be very proud, and I know he will be, that it's these charities that are benefiting from it. So,
do you want to mention them, Carmel?
Yeah, well, the first one is Gemma's Legacy of Hope. Do you want me to...
Yeah, to explain it to us so people know what they'll be helping.
Just a little bit, yeah. Well, it's a vital service that is based here in Dunlow. It provides counselling for children aged 5 and up, teenagers, adults and families throughout the Rosses and Fintown area. And the service, it was set up by the Boyle family to honour the memory of their Gemma. Gemma brought joy and happiness to her family and community in her lifetime. So it's their intentions now that Gemma's Legacy of Hope will continue to do so in her memory. So it's this week actually there was an information leaflet have come delivered through An Post, and there's a lot of very important numbers on there, helpline numbers, and the numbers shown on the leaflet, it's a centre in Letterkenny. They run and manage this service for Gemma's Legacy of Hope. So if you're from the Ross or Fintown area and you would like to seek counselling, ask for Gemma's Legacy when you ring this number. There's a small charge for each person using the service, and the rest is funded then by Gemma's Legacy. So we're honoured to be able to contribute towards this important organisation.
All right, and Hughes House in Dublin's another very important organisation.
In Dublin, yeah. It's Hughes House. It's, well, as Laura, my sister, calls it a home from home, and it provides free accommodation, meals and support to families of sick children while they're receiving treatment in Hollis Street, Temple Street and Rotunda hospitals. And it was set up by a Dublin company family whose little boy spent a long time in hospital.
Yeah.
And while they were there, they saw many families from other counties struggle. They were exhausted, sleeping on floors, chairs and cars for months at a time. So sadly, their little boy Hugh passed away, and in his memory, they decided to set up a house for families in this situation, calling it Hughes House. It's a 6-bedroom house with a large garden, so brothers and sisters of the sick child can come and stay with their parents if they wish.
Wow.
So in 2019, my sister Laura and her husband Ethan's little girl Mia, she was born 13 weeks premature. So they were very fortunate to get a room in Hugh's house. So again, this service can only be run and managed by fundraising and donation. So we feel it's another very worthy charity to benefit from Jamie's Memorial Day.
For sure. Now, remind us of the Memorial Day. It's on Sunday. It's in the grounds of Ross's, isn't it?
It's in the grounds of the Ross's Community School. Yeah.
And it runs from what time to what time?
It runs from 12 till 4, but the show cars can arrive from 11 on.
All right, and the Sierra's going to be on show, lots of other cars.
Sierra's going to be on show, yeah, at Pride of Place in Mr. Gorman, the principal's spot, somewhere Jamie always says he was going to park.
I absolutely love it. Okay, that's brilliant. That's wonderful. He'll be laughing looking down at that one.
Yeah, looking down on that, hopefully. Well, you know, it's going to be an emotional day, but a happy one as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's donations, there's prizes of people have been donating prizes and all that kind of stuff.
People are just amazing. They're just fantastic. And without support of all our friends, family, all the local businesses, like, this day wouldn't be happening. So it's really, we came up with the idea, but it's everyone else that's really making it happen. So
lovely stuff.
You know, people are just amazing. The generosity is just overwhelming.
As you are, Carmel, and Jamie will be incredibly proud of you. I can say that without any fear of contradiction. It's going to be a tough day for you, but hopefully there'll be smiles as well, Carmel, and they'll be hugely supported, and donations to those two great charities as well. And I really appreciate you sparing the time for us this morning.
Well, thank you for having me on. And can I just say, just one more thing before I go?
Of course.
You know, I suppose what I'd like to say is there was 3 families involved that night in the accident. And one thing is for sure, we will always have great memories of our boys, and we will be forever proud of them. So it's just to keep that in mind for our 3 boys smiling down on us and hopefully helping us through the rest of our days.
Indeed.
So that's what,
All right, thank you, Carmel. I appreciate it. All right, and best of luck for Sunday.
Thank you very much, Greg.
All right, thank you, Carmel Boner there. Right, and very gracious words at the end there too. Nationwide, the Irish Road Victims Association, RVA, will hold a virtual event to commemorate the UN World Day of Remembrance for Road Traffic Victims on Sunday the 21st November at 3 p.m. All are invited to join this event. Facebook.com/Irish Road Victims. But if you're locally and you've any interest in cars and you want to support Carmel and her family and those charities, Gemmesy's Legacy of Hope and Hughes House in Dublin, you can get along to Ross's Community School there on Sunday. I think the weather's going to be good, and you get to the Sierra parked in the principal spot, and rightly so. And just a couple of comments before a quick break here. Jamie was a lovely young lad and a credit to his parents and grandparents in Dunlow and Letchermack Award, says just someone who wanted to ring in and pass on that information. And lastly here, just for now, Greg, no need for me to reiterate that my heart goes out to Carmel and all her family. Would you please tell her that IRVP have a help guidebook, and I post it to you on Tuesday the 16th. Thanks, Greg. All right. Listen, thanks for that.
Today's 9 till noon show is brought to you in association with Ulster Tyres. Are your tyres ready for winter? Call into Ulster Tyres in Letterkenny and Ballybuffet today.
€74 per hectare eco-scheme payment. For more in your Farmer's Journal, here's Paul Mooney.
Our new CAP series reveals how eco-schemes will work and what you will need to do to draw down your payment. Find out which counties would win or lose from 100% convergence. With soaring fertiliser prices and dangerously low stocks, will there be enough stock for farmers next spring?
And don't miss our Winter Ready focus inside this week's Irish Farmer's Journal. You cannot afford to miss it.
This week's special offers at Doherty Centre Moville. There's 2 for €7 in Nestle Celebrations, Coca-Cola, Fox's, McVitie's and Cadbury Selected Range. Centra Fresh Irish Strip Loin Steak, €6. There's Centra Fresh Irish Chicken Breast Fillets, now €6. And Bulmer's Original Light Bottle 20-pack, now €14. With lots more Christmas offers in store at Doherty Centre Moville. Enjoy alcohol responsibly.
Auctioneers, estate agents, letting agents and property management agents operating in the Republic of Ireland must hold a Property Services Regulatory Authority PSRA licence. licence. An auctioneer may auction land, fine arts, antiques or animals at a mart. When engaging an agent, don't assume your agent is licensed. Check the PSRA register of licensed agents at psr.ie. Unlicensed agents are breaking the law. Report unlicensed operators to info@psr.ie. Remember, no PSRA licence, no PSRA consumer protection.
Sometimes tickets from 6545 go on sale Thursday, November 25th at 8 a.m. Maybe subject to fees. I'm shameless. Garth Brooks, live at Croke Park, Friday and Saturday, September 9th and 10th.
Tomorrow never comes.
Presented by Aiken Promotions.
At Liquid Therapy here in Donegal, we enable young people who need that little bit of extra time and support to experience the benefits of surfing and being in the ocean. Thanks to the Begin Together Fund, Liquid Therapy can be here for the families who need us.
Bank of Ireland's Begin Together programme supports people and community groups across the country with a vision, passion and drive to make things better. Because we believe tomorrow will be better if we begin together.
The Irish Natura and Hill Farmers Association are holding an information meeting in Jackson's Hotel Ballybuffet this Friday the 19th of November at 8 p.m. to discuss the current CAP strategic plan. Mr Charlie McConlogue, Minister for Agriculture, Food and the Marine, will be in attendance. Current COVID guidelines will be in place.
Okie doke, live music with Tommy Fleming coming up shortly on the programme. He is playing the Balla Arts Centre in Ballybuffet on December the 3rd. Right, okay. Councillor Nicholas Crossan joins us on the programme. Councillor, good morning to you.
Good morning, Greg.
Buncrana Christmas lights switch on. You're ploughing on with it.
We're going to head with it, Greg, tomorrow night at 7 o'clock sharp, and we're welcome Santa back into Buncrana to switch on the lights for us this year again.
What did you see in sort of the global situation here in Donegal that was different from Ballybuffet, Stranraer, Donegal Town and Letterkenny that you thought, right, we'll just carry on?
Well, we were asking the people just to... It's an outdoor event, obviously. The main street of Buncrana is probably about 400 metres long. There's plenty of room for space there, so I just asked the people to wrap up, keep warm and keep safe, keep your distance. I think it's the reason that we went ahead with it, Greg, is I do believe that it's for the children to see Santa in their town and to come along to the event. But we almost think I'm a great one for this, a bit of responsibility for everybody. And, you know, if people feel that they're not safe, we will have a video YouTube that can be done on it as well for them to see that. But anybody that wants to come along, wear a mask, keep your distance, do all the natural things. I mean, Greg, there was 40,000 people at a rugby match last Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see many masks than that there, and there was a closer environment. This event's going to take about 15 minutes, and I think it's a great event for the kids in Buncrana.
And the general community supporting in this decision?
Yes, as far as I'm aware, I didn't hear any voices against it. It was a decision the committee. No, this is a fluid situation. It could change, but at the present moment in time, there's nothing to say within the health and safety that you can't have an outdoor event for a simple thing like switching on the lights. And I know Letterkenny and Ballybuffet and Donegal Town have cancelled theirs, and that's the choice that they made. We had a very small event last year where Santa will come to Market Square, and we videoed it because we were in the heart of the pandemic at that time. I know that the numbers is very high, but I'm just asking people just to come along, respect other people, keep the distance, and wrap up and keep safe.
Okay. Just remind us when it's happening again.
Tomorrow night, Friday night, 7 o'clock, and it will be 7 o'clock sharp. There's only two things to start in Buncrana on time. That's St. Patrick's Day Parade and the Christmas lights switch on, because obviously they could be snowing or it could be raining. But we're not keep the children too long. Santa would love to see them there. Come along, out, enjoy yourself, wrap up, keep warm and keep safe.
And you'll be there yourself?
I hope to be, if the good Lord spares me.
Okay, right. Thank you.
Okay, Greg.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Councillor Nicholas Crossan there. Right, now, looking forward to attending the car show in remembrance this Sunday in Dunlow. Thoughts and prayers are with you all at this difficult time from everyone in Finn Valley Cars and Coffee Group. I hope you have a lovely day. Hello, just wondering if there's a backlog on COVID certs, as I got my last vaccine in September, got no cert yet. I have a card I got with at the time. I received vaccine in chemists. Some restaurants, pubs won't accept it. Please help. There's no backlog at all. They've if you were to ask the government, they'd say they've all been dispatched at this stage. There is a telephone number you can ring. I just don't have it to hand, where they will you call them and they will send it out to you. Why do Inishowen people have to travel to Letterkenny for a test? It's crazy. I can make no rhyme or reason for it. Now, at this point, you just accept these things in Donegal. You have to, because, it was about getting a testing centre there before, pop-up ones 2 weeks after cases had peaked in certain areas. Then a pop-up test centre would arrive. Made no sense to me at all. Lots of people wanted to see a vaccination centre there to help with that. They stuck it in a school so that when the school opened, they had to close it. Couldn't make any sense of that either. At this point, they expect people from Mallinhead to drive to Letterkenny for a test. I don't know. If you can make sense of it, get on to me. I can't. So I don't know. It's just something we accept at this point, isn't it? Hi, Greg. Could I ask, is the mental health services not covered by a medical card? A relation was sent to the emergency department in Letterkenny to see a psychiatrist, waited 5 hours to be seen, and then got a bill from the hospital. Is this right, or is it covered? Now, was the bill for attending A&E? So, if you were referred there, was it like €50 for turning up? Because I think regardless of what your ailment is, physical or mental, you have to pay to attend the ED. Or did you actually get charged for seeing the psychiatrist? If you could just get some clarity on that, it would help with us if we get to chase it up for you. Hi, I'm affected by the issue, but the PRAI will not adjust the land boundary. And I'm fighting this now for 5 years. I would get in contact, if you haven't already, with the offices of Padraig McLaughlin. Limerick or Wexford, one of these counties, have the old land registry maps, the original maps done by men, possibly women too. Hi, Greg, got my vaccine yesterday. The expiry date is the 31st of March 2022, so that's 3 months, isn't it? December, January, February, March, 4 months. Okay, that's interesting, isn't it? I think that was your booster in inverted commas, yeah? Greg, I was just listening to you about the booster injection. I got my booster injection on the 22nd of October. It's got an expiry date of December 2021 on it, which is this year, isn't it? Yeah, so October, November, December, 2 months. Caroline, that's something maybe we should check up on, because the boosters, people are contacting us saying the expiry date of the booster is 2 months after it was administered. I think that's very interesting. Greg, if there was 100% compliance, revaccination and boosters, would COVID leave our shores? Or will we have to get boosters, etc., like flu jabs as part of the public health normality now? I don't know. It remains to be seen. Infectious disease experts believe it will be around for a few years. I think, these new tablets that are coming online early next year will help. In terms of, would it be able to be controlled by just those who are most vulnerable, like that would get the flu vaccine, getting it? I don't know. I really just don't know. We'll see. But things can change very quickly with these things, as maybe happened with the Spanish flu. All mention of 3 antigen tests, and I've heard so far have stated day 1, 3 and 5, not day 0, day 2 and day 4. Please clarify. I can only go by what was told me by Dr. Anthony Bresson. He said it's called day 0, day 2 and day 4. And I said at that time, I said, that's a little confusing. That's a little bit confusing, isn't it? 1, 3 and 5 would make an awful lot of sense. Greg, what about the price the chemists are charging for antigen tests? I paid €8 for one test. So for a large family having to test 3 times, it's a ridiculous price to pay for antigen tests. They're handed out for free in the north. If you're a close contact, they're sent out for free to you, by the way. So if you're a close contact, you don't go and buy them in the chemist. They're sent to you. Greg, enjoying the show, just listening about the number in schools being high. Surely this is a good thing and COVID will burn itself out. Well, who's to say? Not I. I don't know what the story is there. Greg, something different from COVID. I walked approximately 4 miles every morning in this country, in the Finn Valley area. I've not seen one rabbit in the field this year. Now, the country used to be full of rabbits. Does anyone know what's going on? I haven't a clue. They normally pop out a bit later in the year, don't they? I don't know, but it's an interesting one. We'll get to the bottom of the missing rabbits. Right, Tommy Fleming joins us on the programme now. Good morning to you, Mr. Fleming. How are you?
Good morning, Greg. It was I'm really good actually, and it's great.
Do you know what's happened to the rabbits?
I haven't a clue.
Maybe they're not breeding like they used to.
Maybe they just decided, to hell with all the bad news and gone back into hibernation. Do rabbits hibernate? I don't know.
Oh no, that's another question. I'll have to get an answer to. I think I don't know. It seems a bit early for them so far yet. Anyway, come here. Listen, are you back playing live again now?
Not just yet, and I'm trying not to think about all of it's just.
I'm trying. How can we frame this? Because it's positive. We're going to hear your beautiful voice.
Yeah, absolutely.
About gigs, but.
It's we were all set. We've everything ready to roll. We're almost there with to hit the go button, and then it's kind of you just feel like you're taking 10 steps and then brought back 12. And it's just our industry, the hospitality industry, everybody's affected. It's just this. Can they not just? And this is my rant over. Can they not just give positive news? And not stop trying to...
The problem is, Tommy, and I get you, right, and we get this a lot, but if we stop talking about COVID and restrictions and all that kind of stuff, it doesn't magically make the hospitals empty.
No, I know that. I get that.
And that is the... Because me and Caroline, we didn't talk about COVID for ages in this programme. Well, we tried to keep it to an absolute minimum. But it doesn't make the GPs less busy. It doesn't make the hospitals less busy. And it's a bummer. And John Bresson comes on and he doesn't talk about it. And David James comes on and plays his country and he doesn't. And Rory's on in the morning. I mean, this is a current affairs show. And, even if we didn't talk about it, but we wanted to talk about cancer services, right?
That's it. I mean, I get you.
We can't, the cancer services are affected by the amount of people that are sick in hospital. And it's so horrible and it's so frustrating, Tommy, and I just can't wait till it's all behind us and it's the last thing I want to talk about.
It's going to be this. It's not going to be today or tomorrow. We're not going to solve it either. So,
but anyway, listen, what people can do, right, and this is what we have to do, is give ourselves breaks from it as much as we can. Decide how much of it you're going to take breaks for the rest of the day. Don't consume it all day. That's what I do, because I work in the media. And you can do things like go and see you December 3rd in the Ballot Art Centre in Ballybofey. It's perfectly healthy, perfectly safe. It's a safe environment, and you're there. And that's how we give ourselves a break from it all, Tommy.
You make me sound like I'm the Messiah.
You are the Messiah. You are the silver bullet.
The silver bullet. Now, do you know what? Music to me transcends everything. It transcends politics. It transcends bad news. It does all of that. And, I spent the last 6 months recording the new album all these years, and that was just a brilliant time because for once I loved going into the studio and working in it, whereas I normally hate going in because it was just, I always found it very boring. And now anything that I can do that gets
me to the studio quickly.
Bring me down. No. And it's great being able to say that concerts are back. And we're going to go out and do, I think, 4 concerts pre-Christmas. Ballybofey is on the 3rd, as you said. Then we've Galway on the 4th, and there's 2 others just up to pre-Christmas. Yeah. And then hopefully, we're not back until the end of January. Hopefully by then
we'll be flying by then.
We'll be flying by then.
I really do think so, because there's a few changes coming down the line. Do you? I mean, you always go up to Donegal. You've got a big fan base here. You must like playing up here as well. Yeah.
What I was really, with all of the things that happened in the last 2 summers, I was supposed to be up in Glencolmkill for the summer. I've gone back doing Irish again. And I was going to go to Idris Gale there in Glencolmkill, and we missed that. And we missed it the second summer. But you know what? Look, we're still healthy, thank God. We're still alive. And, there's a lot of families and a lot of people in an awful lot worse situation than we are. So we've nothing to complain,
So in terms of recording and writing, you've been doing that, you mentioned earlier, you've been doing that consistently.
Yeah, consistently throughout from the first lockdown. And it was funny, actually. The simplest of things worked. I was we were doing a clear out of the office and garage and everything. And Tina found this big box of CDs with all backing tracks on it. So she said, do you want me to throw these out? And I said, no, don't do that yet until I check every one of them to make sure we have them on digital.
That was lockdown 1. What did you do for lockdown 2? Going through CDs.
Went looking for them after they were dumped. But I went through them, and then I ended up being in the Jeep every day when I'd be going for my run. and I'd be putting the CD into the Jeep and listening to the backing track come up. So I started filming, singing to the backing track.
Why not? Yeah,
But it was a bit of a piss take on Carpool Karaoke, the Late Late Show. But it ended up getting thousands of views, and the dogs would join me, so they were the guests in the Jeep, and they were kind of... Anyway, it was a bit of crack.
But you know what? Some of those things that kind of happen accidentally, that's why people enjoy them, because there's an organic feel to it. It's
and they're
just
not
a fella
planned.
in a car with his dogs.
And it was funny, one day you could see me with a hoodie on, and the next day you could see me with a wetsuit because I was on my way to go swimming. So I didn't give a hoot there was no kind of getting ready or getting dressed up first. But you know what? That's why I'm looking forward to getting back on the stage. I'm looking forward to doing the shows, putting new songs on the stage, and just please God we get the audiences, and that there's, they're confident enough and safe enough to come out, and it'll be great, and it'll be just...
Are you nervous at all? Because I was speaking to, I think it was Francis Black and someone else as well, and they were back again, and it was a nice nervousness, presumably, but it was like getting up out on stage again, if you haven't done it for a while.
I'm nervous, but I'm also apprehensive, and I don't know why there's an apprehension there. I'm chomping at the bit to get going, and yet when I have to go and do something, I've almost become institutionalised, because when I have to leave the house, I'm kind of going, oh God, do I have to go?
I know.
It's kind of getting... I went to Manchester there about five or 6 weeks ago, and I was flying from Knock. And only for the lads in Knock know me. And I was coming through, you put your bag and through the tray and security. And I ended up going through the security screen. My pocket's full of keys, change. I leave my belt on. I have a bottle of water in my bag. So I've done everything that I should.
Hit every X.
Yeah. So I had to keep going back up, going, oh, sorry, I forgot that. Oh, sorry, I took my watch off. And normally that would have been second nature to me to... number one, you don't have change in your pocket or your keys. Make sure that you just, everything's like bang, 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 get through security. But it was just, look, it's kind of, you have to relearn skills again, I think, sometimes, don't you?
100%. And also, too, then, it triggers in different people's social anxieties. You've got really, people that never suffered from anxiety or whatever, would have seen themselves as really confident, but simply even going back into the workplace or back out into socialising or back to an airport, it triggers these sort of emotions they've never ever felt before.
And like even when I was coming home from Manchester and I got to the airport and I knew I'd have to give myself loads of time, and when the bags and the trays start piling up and it's almost like it's like bang 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 one after the other, and you're trying to get everything out of the tray, and all of a sudden like I realize, I feel like my anxiety levels are way up there with Nadine Coyle looking for her passport.
I think airports is the common denominator.
It's just
about airports,
and I just want to get home. Jeez, leave me alone.
And you're never out of them as well. In terms of songwriting, right? I music's sort of escapism for me. TV's escapism for me, right? And if COVID or masks or something is in a TV show or in a song, I'm like, oh no, come on. I can understand artistically why people want to express it that way, but for me, I use sort of the music or the TV or films to sort of escape from a little bit. In terms of your mood, how you're feeling when you're songwriting, like, do you sort of, can you put all that to one side, or do you have to incorporate in it, or does it feel natural to, or does it affect you when you're composing or songwriting whilst you were in sort of the lockdown period?
No, not at all is the answer to that. I deliberately avoided that and deliberately kind of went to somewhere else for want of a better word, for inspiration. For example, when I wrote The Bend in the Ocean, which is the last song on the album, and where the title came from is the strangest one of all. I was flying home from Australia November 2019, just before all the whole thing kicked off, and I was flying somewhere over the Indian Ocean, absolutely exhausted, fast asleep, and then I wake up trying to figure out where I am, and I'm like, when you hit the screen and you're going, I wonder where are we? And at that point, I'm like, we're nearly at the top of the earth as such, and there's a curve. And as I'm going back to sleep, I said to myself, God, there's a bend in the ocean. And that's where the title came from.
Did you write that down?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, because that's important, isn't it? People should always keep a notepad.
And then I'm going past on other notes that I'd written down, and I found one that I'd written years ago when I was working with Goal as an aid worker in Sudan. And because it had gotten so hot at one point, we were all sleeping outside under the stars with in hammocks and mozzie nets, and I'm looking up at the sky, and Africa as always has got this stars. It's just littered with stars, And I'm thinking to myself before I go to sleep, the thought in my head was, I wonder, do they see the same stars at home as here? And then I ended up with a line in the song that says, how come the ones that I've chosen don't see the same stars as me? So the inspiration can be 20 years apart.
Yeah.
But I deliberately don't go down the route of a situational where it is at the moment. I never, because at the moment, I mean, what do you write about? Do you know what I mean? Sitting at home doing nothing?
Sorting through backing track CDs. You know, now I know you're pretty talented, but if you can bang out a tune, it's globally relatable to.
I know that
you are supremely talented.
I just end up trying not to. You know, you try to keep a positive message in the song, or you try to keep, you know, even if the song is about loss, it's about that it's, you know, things I'll still be here for you.
But the best songs about, say, for instance, loss are relatable to multiple situations.
Oh, completely. It could be the loss of anything.
Loss of a pet, it could be the loss of a loved one, it could be a loss of a mom or dad, unless it's specifically about something. And that's those are the best songs. Right, we are doing this, you're going to sing for us a bit of a backing track. Yeah. We haven't had a chance to sort it all out yet. You're going to go up or down if it's too loud or too low to me, right?
This could either go absolutely brilliant.
And if it goes bad, I'm pulling the track all together and you go in a cappella, Tommy.
And I'm just singing completely.
Come here, what song did you tell Oisín to get for us for you?
I was scrolling through, because it's all kind of panic stations, because my guitar player ended up calling me this morning. He was a close contact, so I'm like, okay, this is just going to be the new norm, isn't it? Yeah. So the one that I recorded was on the new album, and it was a version of Fiddler's Green that we did on the 2019 and 20 tour. And it just went down really well, so I thought, why not? It's very relatable and people know the song.
All right, let's see how this goes. All right, here is Tommy Fleming singing for you live.
This could be really good fun. As I went by the dockside one evening so fair, to view the still waters and taste the salt air, I heard an old fisherman singing the song. Won't you please take me home, boys? My time, it's not long. Wrap me up in your oilskins and blankets. No more of the docks I'll be seen. Just tell me, old shipmates, I'm taking a trip, mates, and I'll see you someday in Fiddler's Green. Now Fiddler's Green is a place I hear tell, where the fishermen go if they don't go to hell, where the skies are all clear and the dolphins do play, and the cold coast of Greenland is far, far away. Wrap me up in your oilskins and blankets. No more of the docks I'll be seeing. Just tell me, old shipmates, I'm taking a trip, mates, and I'll see you someday in Fiddler's Green, where there's always a breeze and there's never a gale, and the fish jump on board with the swish of their tail, and you lie at your leisure 'cause there's nothing to do, and the captain's below, boys, making tea for the crew. Wrap me up in your oilskins and blankets. No more of the docks I'll be seeing. Just tell me, old shipmates, I'm taking a trip, mates, and I'll see you someday in Fiddler's Green. When you get to the dockside and your long journey's through, and there's pubs and there's clubs and there's lassies there too, And the girls are all pretty, and the beer, it is free. And there's bottles of rum, boys, growing from every tree. Wrap me up in your oilskins and blankets. No more of the docks I'll be seen. Just tell me, old shipmates, I'm taking a trip, mates, and I'll see you someday in Fiddler's Green. Wrap me up in your oilskins and blankets. No more of the docks I'll be seen. Just tell me, old shipmates, I'm taking a trip, mates, and I'll see you someday in Fiddler's Green.
And that's why I don't overplan things, because sometimes the least preparation, you get the best results. That was absolutely brilliant.
I couldn't really hear it in my headphones.
We don't need excuses. It sounded great. That's for if it was a problem. No, it sounded great. Because we didn't get a chance in advance to get the levels. You did amazing. What a pro.
Not at all.
People can see you. It's a Song for Ireland tour. It's playing live December 3 in the Bala Arts Centre, Ballybofey. All set up. It's perfectly safe, and it's a beautiful environment to see Tommy live. Tommy, thanks so very much.
Thanks for having me as always, and thanks to the listeners for the support. Thank you.
Excellent. Okay, we'll be back with the weather after the break.
Today's 9 till noon show is brought to you in association with Ulster Tyres. Get your tyres winter ready. Drop in to Ulster Tyres in Letterkenny and Ballybofey today.
Buy a ticket. Buy a ticket in Highland Radio's mega draw to win a car. Get your ticket by November 30th and automatically enter an extra draw before the big draw. Big draw. One lucky winner will walk away with €2,000. Imagine, that's Christmas all wrapped up. Christmas sorted. The draw will take place on Wednesday, December 1st on the 9 till noon show. 9 till noon. And you're still in with a chance to win the Kia X-Ceed worth over €28,000. 28 grand.
It's that simple to win that car.
To get your ticket, log on to highlandradio.com.
Highland Radio, exceeding your expectations.
Ooh.
Is your water safe to drink? If your water tastes unpleasant or has a foul smell, it may be a sign that something is in your water. Brothers Tech Donegal provide a complete private well water treatment service using the best water treatment equipment to meet your needs. Or maybe you drilled a new well and the water isn't satisfactory. At Brothers Tech, their expert team will also service existing problematic systems. If you're concerned about the quality of your water, call Brothers Tech on 087 638 7057.
Thinking of changing your floors? Why not see what Florid Letterkenny has to offer? Florid have a large selection of solid, semi-solid and laminate click vinyl wood flooring together with a fantastic choice of parquet, herringbone flooring, all at incredible value. Don't delay. Call Florid today on 087 161 7008.
Visit Century Complex. Treat yourself to a tasty meal at Backstage Bar and Grill, an exciting movie at Century Cinemas, or let the little ones explore Century Play. Call us on 074 9121976 or check out our website centurycinemas.ie for more information on Century Complex.
This Saturday, Donegal Intermediate champions Cloughanilly take on Stilstown of Derry in the first round of Ulster at the O'Donnell Park. Tune in for updates from 1:30 in association with Boyce's Centra Stores, Philcara, Dunfanaghy and Carrigart. Shop local, support local.
Hold on to your hat. Hi guys, it's Derek Ryan here, and I'm really looking forward to our first shows in Donegal for nearly 2 years when we return for a weekend of dancing at the Clonry Hotel, Letterkenny this weekend. On Friday the 19th of November, I'll be joined by David James and Patrick